What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 24 of the Fielder's Choice podcast. I am Dan Field. All the way to the left, Matt Giblin, and in the middle, Mrs. Angie Santamaro. I believe that's Matt Giblin.
I don't know. It's like the ghost of Matt Giblin.
Who are you supposed to be, by the way? Could be a mix of a few things. What are you going for?
Grim Reaper.
The Reaper.
I like it.
The Reaper.
Yeah.
What we were saying earlier,
Just-
little Billy,
Uh-huh.
a good
Little
one.
Billy from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. Could be Monty thought I was Coco, which is another one of my personal favorites. I could
That's
see
even
it. Yeah.
better. I could
I
see
think-
that. Yeah.
Little red sweatshirt, maybe.
Yep. Absolutely.
Guys love Halloween. What do you guys think?
I think
like
your mask
Halloween.
is muffling your audio.
The audio.
Um,
Guys, fans of Halloween?
Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, no,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
this
I
is
like
my
Halloween.
costume,
I think it's fun.
so
Oh, I like that.
I like
That's
candy.
funny.
I like candy.
I'm a firm believer, and like I don't care how old you are. If you come to my house and you want candy, you get candy.
Two questions. Ready? Hold on, D. Big bars or little bars?
Big bars.
And top three.
Ooh, candy. Three Musketeers.
Ooh,
Snickers. Twix.
wow. So we always looked at it as the big bars meant they were rich. Like,
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
yeah.
You knew
yeah,
which houses to go to, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, and they loved it.
For sure.
Um,
I'll give you my three. Reese's
Okay, go.
Reese's Cups,
yep. That's,
Twix, and Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Although
that's-
Kit Kat and Twix are a lot alike. But
Well, they used to have the peanut butter Twix. They don't sell it anymore. It was delicious. And you can't find it
I
anymore.
don't know that I remember those.
Oh, it was
But I do
delicious.
remember
So
them, but I
good.
don't know if I remember what they tasted like. Yeah. I'm a big peanut butter and chocolate person.
What about you,
Like-
D?
Peanut butter cup, probably Kit Kat, and Snickers, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not like a fruity candy. I do like fruity candy, but I'm chocolate over fruity.
You know what you don't see
What?
anymore, which I used to get a lot as a kid? The Smarties candies. Did you
Oh,
guys get
thank
those?
God. Those were
Yeah,
terrible.
they were
Yeah,
gross.
those were, yeah.
Well, I
We
know
used to-
you like the
yeah.
the wafers, the
The Necco
wafer
wafers. Yeah, that's
Necco wafer,
yeah, that's yeah.
The Necco wafer is gross.
one of Dee's favorites.
Oh yeah.
Really?
chocolate
Oh my
ones
God, that's
especially.
like grandma candy.
Well, no, those they
Yeah,
make those heart those Valentine's Day heart things with the messages. Same thing.
Yeah, no, I know. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
I mean, yeah, they're horrible for your teeth.
Well, yeah, but then it's like there's only one good one, and you have to eat all the nasty ones to get to the one chocolate one. There's like 3 chocolate per roll of 25.
Well, the other day I was at a supermarket and they had just the chocolate ones, which they used to sell a long time ago, and you can't really find them anymore. I was like, wow,
Oh.
that's yeah.
Just like the pink Starburst. Now they just sell pink Starburst in a bag.
Yeah, or
That's
the
good
smartened up.
marketing.
red ones, the favorite red ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
great
sign,
marketing.
I have a sign in my office that says, "Don't let anybody treat you like a yellow Starburst or a pink Starburst."
So
Gotta
I know
be a
we're
red.
we're competing tonight with the World Series, Monday Night Football. So we appreciate you guys tuned in. For those who are tuned in, episode 24.
24.
Gib and I
24.
worked the Field of Screams tournament this past weekend, and besides winter ball coming up, I think that might be it for us as far as umpiring is concerned. I know you did a Babe Ruth game yesterday.
They're all done, I believe.
Yeah.
all
Oh, was
balls.
that a championship game?
No, but just their last game.
Nice.
Oh, so they don't do a postseason or anything like that.
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of.
Yep. I know
Nice.
Brett's got winter ball coming up.
Yep.
Early December.
But a
I'm
great
sure.
tournament, man.
Yeah, it was a
Some
good
Yeah.
really
tournament.
good games. We saw
Yeah.
some incredible pitching.
Oh yeah, there was a couple Dominican guys who pitched independent ball. Thankfully, Gibb had to work the plate for that one.
There was this one guy on Saturday. He had to be throwing at least the low 90s. Right?
Really?
And then he broke off a nasty little curveball like out of nowhere, like in the second inning. I was like, oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
but
filthy.
He got a little wild at the end, but he was pretty filthy. Yeah.
Yep. But Brock Riley and the Lowell Angels took it undefeated. I got to ump the championship game.
Yeah,
Brock had 14 Ks. He was pumping too. He was probably close to 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that team is filled with some of my favorite ball players, Boz and Godfrey. Godfrey, I saw he put up a post. He hit a few missiles. It looked like.
Nice.
Good for you guys, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Evan
awesome.
Valcourt, my Senators teammate.
With
hit
a
bomb.
great home run we saw, huh?
Yeah, he hit an absolute bomb.
Yeah, and Mark with the MVP.
Yep.
Big ups.
Yep.
Big ups.
So, yeah, baseball season officially over. I mean, after winter ball.
After the World Series.
Well, I'm talking about amateur baseball, of course.
Of course.
But yes, there's always the World Series.
Also, G, I really didn't want to go there, and it kind of comes off a little funny coming from a Grim Reaper right now. But I think I'm a little disappointed my ejection count didn't go up a few notches this weekend because.
Yeah, it was close. We were close.
Was it gonna really
ejection counter?
Yeah, you know what?
Really?
And you know what? The only reason why I didn't is because we've had some of these conversations here. And I've, decided to give a little more leash. But you know what? You got to remember, too, that there's a fine line that you can't cross. And cussing at an umpire, that's
Did you feel like the line got crossed?
The line got crossed, yes.
Really? So what stopped you was... Okay, good. Sorry.
I'm not going to... We don't have to name it. We can leave the names out of it. But the situations, presented them like this. In the first instance... the kid we were just talking about, really good pitcher was pitching, and he was going into his third inning, right, Z, maybe out there, and he was starting to get a little wild. He was starting to miss pretty significantly, right? He had walked the guy, and this particular player was up, and on the first pitch was high and in, missed for a ball. The second pitch was a little closer to his head. He ducked out of the way, and it was fairly close, like, don't get me wrong. But what got me was the fact that this kid was glaring out at the pitcher, almost looking for a response, almost looking for a fight. And all I said to him was, hey, bud, he's not trying to hit you, right? So all I said, and the choice words that I received back, I was disappointed with. And the more I thought about it, the more, you know what? I'm disappointed I didn't react. I really am. Because, you know what? He could have said something to say, hey, mind my own. Even if he said, hey, mind your own business, I think it would have come off better than telling me to shut the F up.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
We're talking about a fine line.
I don't know if that's fine, Gibby. I think that's one that I would have been like, and we're gone, right? Like,
yeah.
But
I said,
I think we've had a lot of conversations on here specifically about not doing that. But
yes,
we do have to talk about, right? There are some very clear non-negotiables. And, I know some people, it's the line. I don't really care about the line. For me, that's not a big one. But if that was kind of something that we were all doing, I would do it. But swearing directly at you, dropping the F-bomb, or directly like making it personal, whether it be about who you are, whatever. I don't know. I feel like there's three. Is it drawing the line? Is the third one? Is that the third one?
Bill Dingle says toss him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? When I came home and told my wife, she said the very same thing.
Well, what did Kelly say? Do you remember when the ladies were on and Kelly said the only ejection you remember, or like, what is it? The only ejection you regret is the one you didn't do. And I think that, right, that's probably and possibly what's happening. And I I understand.
I mean, it was a tournament. Yeah, it drew the line, but yeah, it was unfortunate.
The second incident was, you know what? Something that happened Saturday night where this particular player disagreed with a call I made and proceeded to tell me that I was fucking blind. I chose to ignore it and didn't say anything back at all. All right. Fast forward to the next day, and this team is playing again. There was a disagreement with some ground rules. A ball got hit that was caught that happened to be out of play, which talked about in ground rules, clearly gone over. When this particular player said to pretty out loud that, hey guys, you shouldn't change the rules just because that's the guy who's paying you, I turned around and told him to shut up. Was I a little aggressive? Yeah, you know, and had it come from someone else, would I have even turned around and said anything? Maybe not. But you know what? I turned around and told him to shut up. And he swore at me again. Now, I let it go then, you know? And he continued to mouth off to me for the rest of the game. And then after the game was over, after he had made the final out, he told me that if I was going to mouth off and I was going to talk shit, that I should be a better umpire. And I said, excuse me? I've watched you for the last month harass umpires almost on a game-by-game basis, which is fact. This kid was in the playoffs, and I saw him on multiple occasions go after umpires. Was that in the back of my mind? Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, it was. But in this particular instance, after I had been sworn to 2 or 3 times, like, I let him have it too. I went back up to his face, and he said, all right, come say that to my face. And I said, yes. After he personally insulted me, you know, told me I was a lousy ball player or whatever he thought. Yeah, but guess what? Yeah, I know I'm a 270 hitter. I don't care. You know, when I was in Little League, my father told me that my job was to play defense. And that's what I learned how to do. I was never a hitter. But this kid crossed the line, you know? Decided to throw some personal attacks, swearing and cussing at umpires just because the play doesn't go his way. And then decided to give a shove as he's walking by me. You know, like...
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, guys, like... Most of you guys I know, like, and I said to D too, like, a lot of our job now here as umpires and whatever is to protect the integrity of this game. And that every time I go on the field, that's the number one thought in my mind, is to do the best possible job I can while protecting, like, the rules and however we see, right? Like, it's our job. I don't have any other reason to call the game one way or another for any other reason, you know? So,
Bill, I was his partner, so I was there, but I didn't hear all of it. But the good news in all this is that we're done umpiring for the year.
Yeah.
So we can relax, take a break.
It all goes into the toolbox.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Indeed. Right. Indeed.
And it needs to.
But episode 24, we have another special guest joining us.
Who do we got today?
Well, you
None
call
other
him
than
the luckiest man in baseball.
The luckiest man in baseball.
And he didn't even know you had that nickname for him.
I've been calling him that for years. He knew.
Yeah,
he had to have.
He knew.
We'll talk about that, but I've been calling him that for years.
Yes. His name is Brett Rudy. He's the Vice President of Marketing and Operations for the BMBL, co-founder of 100 Innings of Baseball, founder of Charity Harp, founder of Baseball Life, and recently became the baseball coach for the freshman-sophomore class at Austin Prep. And I'm only naming a few. I think it's time to bring
what is it, 4? Yeah, 4 of the 20 jobs.
Yeah. He's
that
doing
Mr.
a lot
Rudy
of baseball.
does.
He's been around baseball for a long time. You know him. We know him.
We all love him.
Let's do it.
If you don't love him, you really know him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Kidding.
welcome to the show, Mr. Brett Rudy.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for
Hey,
having me
Mr.
on.
Rudy.
Hey.
Welcome to the show. Finally, we've only been trying to get you on for like a year. You're a busy man. Thanks for finally joining us.
So you guys were talking about your favorite candy bars. What about this?
The
Reggie,
Reggie,
oh,
did you?
wow.
You haven't actually eaten that though, right?
No, I mean, I got a
Okay.
whole bunch here from when I was in Cooperstown. Went and bought these, and I've been saving them. I think I might give them out to the kids. Why not? To be honest, they're not really very good, so I have to. But we could give them out.
Yeah, why
They're
not?
not very good, so let's give them to the kids. They're never going to come back to your house.
Yeah, they'll eat anything.
Do you get a lot of
They've-
trick-or-treaters?
Not really. Like, I feel like on a really good year, we'll have like 20, and on a slow year, there might be like 3.
Really? I
Oh,
feel
wow.
like your neighborhood is
Yeah,
perfect for
I was
it.
thinking the same thing.
So the
And he's
thing is,
back.
I live at Gibby. You look different.
Oh, wow, that was
Brett,
quick.
what's good, bud? How you been, man?
That was
It's great
quick.
to see
Who's
ya.
that?
Dude, you don't even look scary anymore.
No, he still does.
But
still
yeah,
does.
like it's bizarre because our neighbor, you know him, Tom Callahan, lives at the end of our street, and he always puts up like really bright Halloween lights. So all the kids that are walking by our street, they see all the Halloween lights at the end of the street. You would think that would make the kids want to go down our street. And
Yeah,
see what's
well-
going on down there.
Yeah, well, your street isn't officially a cul-de-sac, but like it is a cul-de-sac. Like it's a dead end that it's like a mini cul-de-sac, I guess. So you would think that kids would want to come down and hang out.
Yeah, I mean, cul-de-sacs are so easy. You just go around and loop.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
There's no wasted steps. Like it's
Right.
just
And you don't have to worry about the streets, like and the kids running in the street, because hopefully nobody's coming down the street.
yeah. There's no doubling back. It's just like free
Right.
money. But I feel like the kids just don't go out anymore. I don't know. I
Not
don't know
as much.
what they're doing, but they're not going out. Like this year, it's Friday night, right? So
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah.
like this will be a pretty crazy night. Like I feel like Friday and Saturday nights are the big Halloween nights because kids have nothing to go out and cause trouble. So year is going to be a rough year, I think, but in a good way. I'm looking forward to it.
As an educator, I'm okay with school not being the next day.
Right?
It is the worst. Yeah. So I'm okay with this.
So you were saying I coach baseball at Austin Prep. On Fridays after school, the baseball team runs hills. So they do all these drills where they run up the hills and they carry weights up the hills. And for an hour and a half, they're just doing different drills up the hills, which is absolutely insane. On Halloween, they do it in costume. So last year was my first year. I knew that they were invited
That's
to
funny.
in costume, but I'm like, all right, I mean, they're in high school. Nobody's actually going to show up in costume. Every single kid shows up in costume. They're wearing masks, like the whole thing, and they're running up these hills for an hour and a half, doing push-ups in the mud for like a full hour and a half in costume. It's the most wild thing.
I love that. I love everything about that.
Yeah. And it's just like these baseball players that are supposed to be like these badass, tough, jocks. When I was in high school, they would never be caught dead wearing a uniform, like a costume. Like that just wasn't the cool thing for the athletes to do. And these guys are just owning it. It's awesome.
It's a different world now
It really is.
It is.
for teenagers. It's a whole new world for them. What they do, what they get away with. I kind of love it for them.
Well, they live kind of like in this Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok world where everything they're doing, they're kind of doing it for fun, but they also kind of want footage. They need content, so they eat this stuff up. Everything they do is a photo op.
Yep. They're also more confident these days, I think, and I do really love that for them. Some too much, but I do love it for them. The girls nowadays, like teenage girls in high school, there's an air of confidence that it's unmistakable, and I love it.
So I was joking around with Ange saying, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of kids dressed as 6'7", and I said as a joke because I don't even know how you would dress up as a 6 and a 7, but Ange said that our students were doing it.
They do
So,
it. Yep. They get T-shirts and then they just duct tape the 6 and duct tape the
oh my
7, and
God,
that
it's
is
the
what they do.
stupidest thing I've ever
I'm not
heard.
gonna lie, I'm so sad that you guys put me on episode 24. I wanted to be on episode 6, 7 so bad.
Oh well, you got some months to go before that,
43
Rudy.
episodes
You could have
away.
just skipped right to it. I mean, you guys are the producers after all. You could have just done episode 6, 7 for Halloween, and nobody would have known any better.
Treehouse of Horror, Simpsons. Yeah. Oh God. Well, did you see the umpire who did that on the bases the other night? This dude, he bobbled the ball at first, and so the
Oh,
umpire was saying like bobble,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he was
yeah,
safe.
That's hilarious.
We had a game on Sunday, and there was a foul ball hit to like some guy's dad off on the first base side, and he got off his chair to try to catch the ball and sort of bobbled it. And all the kids were like, 6, 7, 6, 7. They're like, the guy had absolutely no idea what they were doing at all. So he was just going like this, no clue what was happening.
Oh,
I don't even think they know what it is.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
It's just like some meme this kid said, and as a result of the kid saying it, a rapper put it in a song. Like it's nothing. Like people think it was in the song first. Like it wasn't. Some kid just said it out of nowhere, and they put it in a song.
It happened at a basketball game. This kid went viral for doing something else, but like that was in it, and then it just caught on. So like it literally means nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But that's pretty much where most viral things come from, so it's fine. But stupid. Brett, to you, sir, we are here to talk about the luckiest man in baseball.
Oh, sure. So how did I get that moniker? Like how am I lucky?
Brett, I feel like no matter what the play, or every time you hit the ball, and every time you make the play, even though it looks like you're not going to make it, right? Like I've seen you make so many plays where it looks like you're just like walking and somehow you catch the ball, or like I said, or like you need to get a hit and you get a hit. I think that you are very lucky when it comes to baseball.
The Reaper lived on 67th Ave in Philly.
See,
Rapper. I thought you said Reaper.
Yeah, that's less about luck and more about just having bad form, right? So plays.
But it makes it look very lucky.
Yeah, so plays that would be routine to like an average fielder, they look like I'm just getting to it and making diving plays. Like I'm legitimately making diving plays and making like a very good play based on my ability. But like a better player would just trot to that ball and catch that ball. And like as far as hitting is concerned, I'm surprised that people haven't completely figured this out yet. Like I just slapped the ball over the shortstop's head, over the second baseman's head. Like if the outfield would just come in, I promise you I'm not going to burn you.
We call that the limbo special.
Yeah, just drop it in. And every once in a while I'll rip one. So a couple of years ago I hit a legitimate home run out of Winthrop, admittedly probably the smallest field in Boston, but you know what, it's a home run nonetheless. And every once in a while I'll get a hold of one, but more often than not I'm just going to drop the ball in. And when I swat the ball to right field and everybody's like, oh wow, does he always get one in? It's not because it's tremendous talent, it's because I can't get it around. So I'm always hitting the ball oppo and dropping it in.
Although say what you want about Winthrop, it might be a really small field, but all of those fucking houses are white behind the mound, and it's an incredibly hard field, I think, to actually get like good hits in with all of those white houses, and depending on the time of day.
And you know what? It's a small field, but I actually kind of like the backdrop with the houses. I mean, I swear to God, I'm not comparing this to San Francisco at all, but because it's Winthrop. I mean,
Brett.
Yeah, but it kind of looks like the row houses in the back. Like they're all these like brown houses, and they're kind of pretty looking behind the field. It kind of is a nice backdrop when you're hitting there, and there are planes landing into Logan like every 45 seconds, which is kind of cool, actually.
Well, that part is cool, but the houses are all white. They're not brown. They're all white.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it incredibly hard to hit at that field. For me, anyways. It just all is one.
Located behind a baseball field, it should be illegal to paint their house white.
100%.
Yeah, there's like people who have problems with like a lot of the fields we play on where there's a shed behind home plate and they'll paint it a color. Like I know Scott Isaacs, the commissioner of our 38 plus division, is always complaining that they should just paint the house that's behind home plate because he can't see a ball while he's playing first base because the house is the wrong color. And I'm like, dude, you better learn to deal with that because it's going to be that color for a really long time. It's like guys who complain that the sun's getting in their eyes on a fly ball. It's like, well, you better get used to it. The sun's going to be there next year too. So
But that is one thing that softball has that I loved, was that the ball was yellow. I could
that's a good point.
could track that ball all day, every day.
So is there a legitimate reason? Like, is that actually so you can see it better in the sun? Like,
I actually don't know. I just know that that's one thing that I do love about softball.
Brett's going on ChatGPT. He's
baseball.
on ChatGPT already.
See, Savannah
Banana ball. Yeah, I got one
ball.
too somewhere.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I do
backdrops,
too.
Brett, like one of the worst in Boston to me was always like Ryan Field, because you had those lights that were lined up
Nice.
behind home plate, right in line with third base. And I mean, that backdrop went from like old factories to, the Encore to now Ryan's gone.
Yeah, I mean, at Ryan Playground, they had this security light that was on the Schrafft's building behind home plate. And it's not like a car headlight where you can just run out to the guy who owns the car and be like, hey, buddy, can you please turn off your lights? Like, that security light is up there, like, and there's nothing you can do. You better just figure it out. But that was brutal. As far as I know, it's still there, although we haven't played at Ryan Field in a decade.
Well, it's gone.
I'm pretty sure Ryan's gone now. Yeah, I think they leveled it because they want to put in a new soccer stadium over there.
Wow, that's wild.
They might be doing the same thing to Trum, guys. I don't know if you've heard about this, but they might be putting a school on the field while we fix our school that the roof fell in. So they might be actually using Trum for modular schools, or just putting the school there. They haven't decided yet.
That would be
Wow.
because we play so many games there.
Yeah,
We're there like 4 nights a week during the season.
Yeah. So honestly, like, anything that anybody could do to kind of talk against it to the city would be really nice, because I think a lot of parents are very worried about kind of another one of our green spaces going away and not utilizing what we do have already. But I digress.
This is happening everywhere. Wakefield has a vocational school, and it also has a high school, and they're located like right next door to each other. And some genius decided to rebuild them both at the exact same time. So I don't know what they're doing right now. They have no fields, they have no nothing. Like, they're both just ripped down, and somehow the students are expected to go to school through all of this mess, while their sports facilities, their tracks, like, it doesn't exist. I don't know where they're doing anything.
I mean, I dealt with it at West Roxbury for 2 years when they were building the turf field that's there now. We used to play all of our home games wherever our away game was.
Right. Well, I mean, look, the good news is the long-term effect of this is actually probably pretty positive. So while it sucks in the short term, and we're not getting any younger, so I want to play baseball now, because who the heck knows where I'm going to be in 3 or 5 years. But long term, it's probably good news. We need to redo our fields. They kind of stink. Guys complain about the quality of our fields all the time. They're finally doing something about it, and now we're complaining. Breed is a great example. People have been complaining about Breed for as long as we've been playing there, and like 4 years ago, they replaced all the dirt. And guess what? We have not had a single canceled game the day after rain. Not one this year. Because when it rains, the next day, the field's actually fine. I mean, it used to be if it rained at Breed, you didn't play there for a week. And that's not a problem anymore. Then everybody complained about the lights. And 3 years later, they finally replaced all the lights. And now there's still people complaining that they're not pointing in the right direction. They're not bright enough or whatever. I'm like, guys, chill out.
They're almost too bright.
Yeah, they're 300 times
they're like blinding now. It's crazy.
See, this is the problem. Like, Dan, the lights are too bright. Well, I'm sorry. 5 minutes ago, you couldn't.
No, I'm not complaining. It's better than what
Wear
it was.
sunglasses, Dan.
Yeah. They're better than they were, and supposedly they're going to have an app next year so that any manager can just turn on the lights for their app, just like we do it.
There you go.
I mean, that should be
And like, I know at Trum, you're able to like do the scoreboard on an app. And I think it's Morelli. You can do the scoreboard on an app. You might even be able to do the lights on an app at Morelli too. So this is kind of the new normal with the technology today. That is, they're putting in new lights. Like, you can do the scoreboard and the lights on app now. But you know what? Everybody's always going to find the next new thing to complain about. I've been in this league since 1994, and every year there's a new thing to complain about every year.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's talk about that. 1994, you become a member of the BMBL. How did that start?
So back in those days, it was the Boston Men's Baseball League, because it was just assumed that nobody would play in the league other than men. And we could have a whole nother conversation about how we changed the name of the league like 3 or 4 years ago. I think Dan was actually one of the ones that helped spearhead that. But one of my good friends, he and I used to play at Henry's Baseball Club. You ever hear of that?
Oh, yeah. He's still around.
Used to advertise in the paper, right?
No, he's a very eccentric gentleman. I hope he's listening so he can hear me saying so. But he would put together these pickup games at the West Newton Common. And at the time, I was a student at Northeastern University, and I would take the Green Line out to Newton every Sunday, and it would just be a pickup game. You'd never know who was going to show up. And Henry would be there, and he was about 100 years old then, and that was 30 years ago. He's 100 years old now. He hasn't aged. And but it was just a pickup game, no umpires, and we would just play ball because there was no internet back then. Like now, you want to play in the park, Yawkey, Inner City, North Shore, whatever. Name off all the leagues. There's a billion of them. But back then, nobody knew, right? There was no internet. You couldn't just Google baseball league in Boston and stuff showed up. So everybody played at Henry's. And so I played with this buddy of mine, John Banchik. And then the following year, he's like, hey, I'm playing in this league. There's a game. Do you want to come play? And he didn't know the name of the league. He didn't know anything. And I think there were like 4 teams in the league. And I started playing on this team called the White Sox halfway through the season, and at the end of the season, I played the next season, and then the manager just disappeared after that. I think maybe a couple of years later. I don't know. It was a long time ago, and I started taking over the team because no one else was going to do it if I didn't do it, and that was the Boston White Sox, a team that I managed for about a decade, and that was how I got started in the Boston Metro Baseball League by just. It evolved from Henry's Baseball League, and I started managing it because our manager disappeared and someone had to do it. And actually, I feel like that's the story of the last 30 years, actually. I'm the commissioner right now in the 18-plus division, not necessarily because I want to, but because no one else will do it. So a lot of the things I pick up in baseball, it's because either I do it or no one's going to do it at all. It's become harder and harder over the years to find volunteers to take on baseball roles. Look at the board of the Boston Metro Baseball League. Everybody's in their 40s or 50s. Where are they? Guys in their teens, in their 20s, and their 30s. I mean, when I started doing this, I was in my teens. Where are they all now? Like, there are no new people stepping up to do this. I mean, even look at this podcast. Not that I'm going to call anybody on here old.
Watch yourself, Brett Rudy.
Of course. But where are the 18-year-olds? Where are the 20-year-olds doing baseball podcasts? It ain't happening. It's not happening. The younger people aren't keeping baseball going. If it wasn't for the people who are, I'll say, more experienced doing it, we wouldn't have baseball like we have today. But Boston's awesome. We have 50 colleges and universities in the Boston area, more than any other greater city area in the world, I believe. And as a result of that, we have more baseball played in Boston than anywhere per capita, more than California, more than Florida, more than Arizona. Right here in Boston, in this concentrated area where we play, there's more baseball being played than anywhere else in the country, and it's awesome.
So, Brett, in those early days, how many teams were there? There were just and how long did that last before it kind of started to expand?
So I believe there was an older division even then. So the Boston Metro Baseball League, as we know it, started out. It used to be affiliated with the MABL and the MSBL, which was an organization that Steve Sigler out of Long Island founded and continues to run very successfully to this day. And I think we were a member of the MSBL even way back then. And we had a 30-plus division that started back in 1988, I want to say. So we weren't new, but the 18-plus division was new. There was a 30-plus division that was already going for 6 years before I got there. So when the 18 plus came around, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was easier because there was already another division going. And the president of our league at that time, his name was John Diamond, and we had two vice presidents, Scott Gillespie and Paul Schneider, and they just grew the league. It turned into 8 teams, and I feel like at some point it turned into like 16 teams, and we were trying to figure out how to get even more guys. And back in those days, we used to have a draft. Like we used to hold a draft at Cleveland Circle, and players would come down and they would try out. But
tons of players would show up.
Tons of players would
I was one of them.
I was too.
And one year we had so many players show up. We had like 200 guys show up.
Wow.
And we only drafted about 30 of them because, you got 16 teams. Every team needs a couple of guys. Some of the great teams don't need anybody. So we drafted like 30 guys. And Paul Harrington, who at the time was the vice president of the 30-plus division in our league, he decided to go start his own league called the BABL, Boston Amateur Baseball League. Still exists today. Some of you guys play in it, I think.
As do you.
But at the time, he was having a real struggle to get guys. So he said, look, I know you got a tryout. You had 200 guys. You only drafted 30. Do you mind if I grab the guys you don't want? And I talked to I'll say our board, although it wasn't called a board back at the time. It was just a bunch of guys running baseball, and said, hey, do you guys mind if I give these guys to Paul? And everybody was like, I don't see why not. We're not going to take them. Might as well let them play baseball. And we gave them to Paul Harrington, and that essentially became the BABL. So, when you look at a league like the BABL and you compare from a talent standpoint in over 20 years, it's obviously changed. There's good talent in both leagues, but you say, well, why is the BABL a little bit less talent than you get in the BMBL? Well, because it was founded based upon a group of guys that were the undrafted players from our league. Plus, our league has, the largest player pool of any league there is. During the heart of the season and during the spring and even the winter leading up to the season, we're getting 20 new people a week signing up for our league, and no other league compares to that. I run the website, the Park League and the Inner City League, and those leagues are lucky if they have 30 people sign up the entire year. And we get more players than that every single week that sign up, and we can't take them all. And it's that kind of interest in playing baseball that's enabled some of the other leagues in Boston to even start to sprout up, which is why there's even more baseball now than there's ever been. If you want to play baseball and you live in Boston, there's a team for you. Anybody who can't find a team in Boston doesn't have Google, because there are so many leagues in the Boston area and so many talent levels and so many schedules and so many age groups that anybody can play in this town if they look. There's a team for everybody.
Brett, me and Dan and I can both testify to this, but what do you think it was some of the hardest part about managing and organizing the teams in those early years?
Honestly, the same things that it is today. Collecting money from guys and getting field permits. And nothing has changed. There is no shortage of guys looking to play baseball, but it is very, very expensive to run a team. Today, for example, it's $100 a game per team just to have umpires. So if you have a 24-game schedule, you assume you're going to have 2 games to get rained out in the third inning. That's 26 games. You got another 5 games in the playoffs, let's say. I forget where that is, but let's call it 30 games at $100 a game. You're at $3,000 a year just in umpires. That's before you have league fees, baseballs and uniforms and field permits. Field permits can cost you between $200 and $350 just for a night game, depending on where you play. I think Brandeis is $350 a night to play. In comparison, I think Breed is like $225, I think, and the city of Boston fields are $50 an hour. So if you play, on a night and you don't like the field until 8 o'clock, maybe it's only $150 to play in the city of Boston field. But you're between $150 to $350 to play a night game. By the time it's all said and done, it could cost a team $7,000 to play baseball. Divide it up by 20 guys. do the math there.
I mean, if you can get 20 guys, committed guys.
Yeah. So, you say, Gibby, what's the hardest thing? Getting guys that'll pay, and then getting fields, because it sounds obvious, but if you don't have fields, where are you going to play? And every year there are several teams across all the age divisions that are in our league where they don't come up with any fields whatsoever other than weekends. And honestly, weekends are easy. It's light out, so you don't need to pay for lights. You can have a 10 o'clock game, 1 o'clock game, 5 o'clock game. Like, weekends are easy. But to find a weeknight where you have one game a night and you have to pay for lights, it's hard. And teams don't show up with permits. So I'm not going to throw any teams under the bus because I know they're all working hard. But let's say there's a team and they can't find me a field, and now I need to supply them with a field. That's fine if I have one team. But when it becomes 8 or 10, it gets a little bit tougher to do. And then, believe it or not, then these same 8 or 10 teams are the ones that are complaining that they don't like to play on whatever field you got. It's too far a drive. The lights suck. My guys don't want to go out there because there was a rock by third base, and if it bounces there funny, they'll get hit in the lip. I'm like, well then, dude, go get your own field. Like, seriously, I'm sorry that there's a lip in from, but like, go get your own field then you don't have to play there. So, and so you say, what was it like back then? Like, literally the exact same issues that it is today. The only difference is today,
men and their drama.
Yeah, like, it's just now
We've had plenty of women in the league too.
Plenty too.
No, Brett did a whole article on it.
How many?
I would bet you that we've had.
I only know Marty.
I would bet you we've had more than 30.
Really?
But to be fair, there was a team in our league called the Blue Sox. They played in the 30-plus division, 15, 20 years ago.
All
and it was
female team, right?
So, nice.
So now that I'm thinking about it, the number is probably higher than 30, because I bet there were 20, 25 women on that team alone.
Nice. How come I never knew about this folklore? I've only literally know Marty.
Because you were probably 3 years old at the time. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, but Marty Sementelli is a great.
Yeah, she's.
So Marty, obviously, for those who don't know, she played on Team USA on the women's national team.
I wonder if she's playing in the WPBL.
Is she?
I wonder. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
How old is she? She's probably honestly too old. Like, the girls who are playing are like 20, like early 20s and studs.
But I know she's doing a lot of work with the Boston Red Sox, helping with camps and things like that. But
that's awesome.
At the time when Marty was in her prime, she wasn't yet 30, but we allowed women who were under 30 to play in the 30-plus division because we felt that it sort of equalized things. So Marty played with the Newton Red Sox, and she won Cy Young. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. She didn't win Cy Young. She won the ERA title.
Yes.
Nice.
Now, I don't care if she's a 28-year-old playing in a 30-plus league. Every single guy in that league said that she sucked, she didn't deserve to be there, and then come the end of the season, guess what? And anyone who faced her who said she's easy to hit, well, guess what? Oh, she's so easy to hit. She sucks as you ground out the ball to shortstop, and then you're like, oh, you know what? She's easy. I got this. And then my next a ripper. Yeah. And then her next you go up swinging and you pop it up to second base, and you're like, she sucks. I made contact easy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're 0 for 3 against her in your third at bat, and you're like, she sucks. She had nothing. I'm like, all right, she sucks. She had nothing. You went 0 for 3.
Yeah. My favorite is when dudes look at their bats afterwards, like it was the bat's like it was the bat's fault. I love that. That's my favorite. I'm like, it's the bat, babe. It's the bat.
It's so funny. Like, people are blowing. These kids now are. It's like $400 or $500 for these metal bats. I'm like, for what? For what, man?
It's crazy.
Like, I remember, like, in my high school days, you had like 3 or 4 bats on the team, and everybody shared them, and nobody complained. Somebody else was.
Dude, do you remember that green Easton that got passed around and around and around?
Oh, yeah.
That's all I remember.
Magic.
Yeah, that's right.
I had one of the first ceramic bats by Easton, which the only reason I bought it is because it was a gimmick and it was called ceramic, and I thought that meant it was magical somehow. And it had the ceramic bat. I used it for 2 years, and then 1 year it broke. It was like a cast. You ever wear a cast like on your arm? That's not what the material that the bat was made out of. And one day I just hit it, and it just sort of like it just broke a little bit. And that was the end of that. But that was everybody knows the Easton they used. Everybody knows.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So one of the big topics that gets talked about a lot, as you know, is our stats engine, which is 400 hitter, which I know you were part of way back in the day of helping with Mike Ganley to put together. Can you talk about how, like, the start of 400 hitter and how you guys kind of helped, or how you helped to create that and how that got started? And that was like 30 years ago, and there really haven't been many changes to it since, and it's still one of the most powerful stat engines out there.
So it's wild. So just to be very, very clear, Mike Ganley created 400 hitter. Mike Ganley coded 400 hitter. He continues to do the coding today. But my involvement was this. Back when he was coding it, he played on a team called the Yankees in our 18-plus division. I was on the White Sox then. And then we were both stat guys. And he had 400 hitter in the very, very, very early stages and shared it with me. And I'm like, dude, this is okay, but we should do this, this, and this. And I started writing out these detailed specs for all of the functionality that it needed to have. Like you need to be able to click through and see by game, or click to see standings, and then give the standings based on team and the schedules based on team, and be able to click into a hitter, and like just all of this functionality that you can do now, where you can like dive in and see everything from every different angle. Like all of that was like, I provided those functional specs for what the user experience should be. And like every time I would provide him with this stuff, he'd like code it up, and then I'd go through and like rip it apart and be like, yeah, but you need to be able to do this and this and this. Like, I was the one who had said, hey, you need to be able to make it so that after every game you can add photos. After every game you can do a write-up. Back when social media very first came out, like this is how long we've been doing this. I'm like, you need to be able to have a like button at the bottom of every game summary so somebody can click like and share it on their social media page, and like be able to completely build this thing out. And 400 hitter really just took off, and now every league in Boston, and like for those who are listening from outside the Boston area, I mean, we're talking like a dozen leagues just in Boston alone are using this. And what's so cool about 400 hitter that I love is it is the only stat program, I believe, on an amateur level that allows you for one player to connect their entire playing history. So whether I'm playing on multiple teams in multiple leagues, I can connect all my stats so that I can see the baseball card of every place that I've played at. So I can look at my stats and see everywhere I've played going all the way back until 1994. Like the one exception to this is in the BMBL, which doesn't use 400 hitter. And it completely pisses me off because the last 3 years I've been playing in the BMBL, and like I don't even know what my stats are in those leagues because they're not in the 400 hitter system. What was really cool about 400 hitter too is it kind of enabled Mike Ganley. He's like the head of, I don't know his exact title, but he's like the director of data analytics for the Boston Red Sox.
Yep.
And hold on, say hi to Zach. Zach's bringing me some water. Say hi, Zach.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
All right, goodbye.
That's one drink. One drink.
One drink.
Thank you.
So, obviously Mike is very talented and deserves everything he has with the Boston Red Sox, but would he have nailed that job if it wasn't for what he did with 400 hitter? I don't know, probably not. It's the best stat engine there is. He hasn't really made many updates to it in 20 years. And it's still, it goes back all the way to 1998.
It is pretty awesome.
And in fact, the first couple of years that we built this, it didn't have game-by-game statistics. So if you click into 1998, for example, it won't show you my game-by-game stats. It only
look at that, baby.
Look at that mug.
But if you notice, it doesn't give me game-by-game stats. It just lumps them together. Because back in those days, that wasn't the functionality. We're like, why would anybody want to look at this on a game-by-game basis? We're like, that's ridiculous. Why would anybody want to see that? And then we decided that, people would want to look by game, and hey, we should make it so that people can enter box scores. And the whole idea of how should the box scores work? What should happen if somebody replaces somebody else? How should that look? Like, we kind of created what this framework is and what stats should look like. Before there was baseball cube, before there was baseball reference, there was 400 hitter, and we were doing it first and kind of became the framework that lots of these other stats programs copied in terms of what should baseball statistics look like online. We did it first.
But speaking about 400 hitter, and I know that, and we don't have to get into the kind of controversy of it, right? Or maybe we
can
do.
have a
I
whole
don't
nother
know.
episode on
But
400 hitter.
I do know, right, that different teams and different players have definitely had issues with the way that certain teams enter stats or don't enter stats, and there's been kind of a thing about numbers and such, right? We don't need to get into necessarily that. But my question is, we had Joe Paolucci on the other day, and we were talking about the Futures League. And while the BMBL isn't the Futures League, would it make sense for each team to have an official scorekeeper, that the stats weren't necessarily challenged when they were entered into 400 hitter?
So yes and no. It depends on. I can answer it both ways. Look, at the end of the day, we're an amateur baseball league. Nobody out of the Boston Metro Baseball League was ever scouted and gone pro at any level. The guys who are playing in our league are the guys who kind of acknowledge that their pro days are behind them, and we're doing this for fun. And stats are more of a guideline. I don't miss a lot of games. I play almost every game. And when the season's over, if I have 50 or 60 at bats on a team, that's probably a pretty good amount. And when you only have 50 or 60 at bats, if I enter 2 more hits than I had because my manager put down an error as a hit, and your manager put down an error as an error, so therefore I have 2 more hits out of 50 at bats. What's that? 40 points in my batting average. So now my batting average looks like it's 40 points higher than yours, simply because my manager gave me 2 hits over a 6-month season and your manager didn't. Let that sink in. My manager gave me 1 extra hit every 3 months. And as a result, my batting average is 40 points higher than yours. Then at the end of the season, we're voting for MVP, and they're like, well, I'm going to give it to this guy instead of this guy because his batting average is 20 points higher. I'm like, 20 points higher? Dude, that's because you got 2 extra hits over the course of 6 months because your manager was a little bit lenient. Now, do I think those managers were cheating? Absolutely not. But I think there are different levels of I'll call it who caredness. Some managers are like, he got a hit. Is it a hit? I don't know. He got on first base. It's a hit. And meanwhile, other managers are like, I'm the Major League Baseball official. It bounced off his glove. The level of effort was this. I'm going to score an error. It's an amateur baseball league, and some guys take it more competitive than others. And does it really matter? Who gives a shit? It's an amateur baseball league. So I think when you're looking at the stats and you're trying to figure out who MVP is, every year there's a guy that hit 80 points lower than everybody else who's getting a lot of votes. And people are like, guys, this is absolute bull. He hit 80 points below everybody else. And I'm like, yeah, you know what the difference is? I saw this kid hit for 6 months. And I know that his batting average is 80 points lower because his manager is probably a stickler. And I saw this kid play, and he barrels up the ball every time he hits it. So it's take your stats with a grain of salt and put your votes based on your eyeball test. Because the difference in 20, 30, or even 80 points in our league, it doesn't matter. It's how different managers put it in. The other thing is, on a lot of teams, the manager's not even the one doing stats. It's the manager's a player, and he's out there on the field or coaching the base, and he just throws the book, and he's like, hey, can somebody do this? Mm-hmm. And the guys who are doing the book,
oftentimes,
you'd be awful. You'd be blown away. I coach a high school. We talked about this. I coach a high school team. Do you know how many kids on my high school team know how to keep the book?
None of them know how to keep the book.
Zero.
No, none.
Zero. None of them.
Yeah.
So
especially with game changer now.
It's the worst.
So, but I know why.
No way.
It's because these young kids all grew up playing AAU or elite, and they had paid coaches who keep the book. And the kid's like, "Oh, I'll do the book," and then the coach is like, "No, I got to keep the book. I got to get in the stats." So as a result, none of these kids learn how to do the book. So now you got 25, 26, 27-year-olds in the league, and none of them know how to do a book. So the coach says, "Oh, you got to do a book." Where are all the RBIs? Nobody keeps track of RBIs. So you need to go back after a game and I don't know, this looks like he got a base hit. There were 2 guys on. I guess he probably got the RBIs. You assign it to him, but you're probably getting it wrong. And then good luck trying to reconstruct whether a run is an earned run or an unearned run. Like, good luck.
I mean, I think, right. Like, and I think we can get into the semantics and kind of the weeds of that. Although I do think, and I hear what you're saying, right? It is just amateur baseball, but I do think for a lot of people, they do take it very seriously.
Oh yeah.
And so, and so while I can appreciate the game and that it's the game and 20 points here and whatever points here, but I do think that I've heard a lot of conversation around what it looks like over the span of a career when 80 points plus 80 points plus 80 points plus 80 points plus 80 points and what that kind of then is interpreted about or interpreted like. I do think that 400 hitter is a great database. So I don't think it's a database problem. I do think that it might be something to think about for the league. And I don't know what that looks like. Obviously, I'm not playing, I'm not paying, but I wonder what that would look like as far as teams then kind of accepting all the team stats, if that makes sense.
I mean, look, I think it's a good idea. We had a team in the 18 plus this year that didn't even enter pitching stats. It happens from time to time. There was a team several years ago in the 30s, the Cubs. And what they would do is they needed to make sure they entered who their pitchers were so that their pitchers would get credit. So what they would do at the end of a game is like, this pitcher pitched 5 innings. So they would just put in 5 innings for this pitcher and no other stats. So it would be under the appearance that the pitcher pitched 5 innings, gave up no hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts either, but just 5 innings. And it totally messed up the stats because all the league leaders in the league were all the Cubs pitchers because they all had ERAs of 0 because none of them gave up any hits or runs or anything. So I'm like, you know what, screw this. So I went into all the, because as the administrator, I went into all the Cubs and went into every single player and picked one game and just entered 99 runs, 99 runs, 99 runs, 99 runs.
So what I hear you saying is my idea is great, is what I hear you saying. We just don't know how to implement it, which is fine and fair.
Well,
yeah, no, I mean, I think it is a good idea. The challenge, of course, is where are you going to find a scorekeeper who wants to keep score
for every game?
I mean, you work at a high school, Brett, with baseball kids. I mean, my coach used to do it that if you messed up that week, it was the punishment where she didn't care how good you were. You could have been the ace star player. If you messed up that week, if she got a bad report at school, you were doing the book and you better do it correctly.
But we're just saying the younger generation doesn't know how to do a book.
Right? I'm just saying. Give every one of your kids a game, Brett.
No, I mean, I hear you. It's just the challenging thing is.
No, I know. I'm just, yeah.
These kids are also playing and they're also batting. So when they go up to bat, who's going to take over the book?
No, I mean at the BMBL. I don't mean for your team. I mean like around the league. Just send them out.
But where do these kids learn? They learn how to do the book in high school and in elite ball, and they're not going to learn in elite ball because I'm doing the book, but now I got to go bat. So now I got to give the book to Nate over here down on the bench, and Nate doesn't know what he's doing. So Nate tries to figure it out. He can't figure it out, so he goes and gives the book to Brandon, and then all of a sudden you got 4 different people doing the book. And a baseball book is kind of like learning a language in a way. Everybody speaks it kind of differently. So if some people put in RBIs differently, some people care about like backwards Ks. I'm like, I don't care if it's a backwards K, forward K. 400 hitter doesn't know the difference. It's
yeah.
So are you surprised that 400 hitter is still as powerful as it is, considering there hasn't been many changes to as much as we could go on and on about that. We've had many conversations about 400 hitter and how to make it better. But are you surprised that it's still like one of the top stats programs out there?
I'm blown away by it. The one stat program that everybody's talking about because all the kids are using it today. I know that's a phrase everybody says, all the kids are doing it, but no, legitimately, all the kids are using it. Is Game Changer.
Game Changer, yeah.
And Game Changer sucks.
Yeah, that's
Game Changer is the worst.
Like
I was just messaging Mike Powers about that. Sorry, we were just talking about that.
When I'm putting in my lineup and I don't know who number 10 is on the other team, like I just put his name as number 10, and that's his name. So now something has happened for number 10, and it doesn't actually connect. And the other thing is, like, I'm entering your number 10 hitter as his name is number 10. Meanwhile, his own coach is entering his name as Matt Giblin. So now there's 2 players, one named number 10 and one
right.
who have identical stats, but that player's entered twice. And the stats are probably different because different people entering it put it in different ways. And like That's literally just one game. Now multiply that out times a 24-game season. Like Game Changer sucks.
Game Changer's the worst.
I mean, there's such room to grow, to build a better thing. I know we've talked about it, but like Game Changer on steroids. So for instance, both teams are using call it Game Changer for now. They put their rosters in, and then during the ground rules, you can literally like scan their phone to get their roster, and then when you scan, they get their roster, and then you have all the players. There's so many things that could be done, and that's just the techie in me that I want to improve Game Changer. And I know Mike is a busy guy with his position with the Red Sox.
Hitter.
What?
Improve 400 hitter.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's something.
Look, there's more things he can do, but the challenge is this. 400 hitter is, again, we developed it 20-something years ago, and it's so much more advanced than any other stats program there is. The new managers who are coming on board, like they can't even grasp the features that it has today. I mean, between the box scores and the schedules, we have Rookie of the Year voting because you have the ability to flag a player as a rookie. And at the end of the season, some team is like, why didn't any of my guys get any votes? I'm like, I don't know. Did you flag your rookies? I asked you like 3 times to do it. He's like, oh, I didn't see that message. I'm like, I literally said it 3 times. Like, okay, well, you didn't flag your rookies, so how was it supposed to know they were rookies? That's why they didn't.
But the whole point is, you won't even have to do that. The system would automatically know. You could build that in. If it's a first-time player that his name's not in the database, and it's known
But it's not that simple because somebody enters Dan Field and somebody else enters Daniel Field. Or, somebody else enters Danny Field. And then the system thinks it's 3 different guys. Matthew Giblin, 2 different guys. Or worst case scenario, you get 2 Chris Walshes playing in the exact same year for 2 different teams. And I'm not making that up. Like, legitimately happened. You had 2 different kids named Chris Walsh playing in the exact same time. I mean, you probably know this because it literally just happened this year. We got Mike McGuire making the Hall of Fame. You're trying to figure out his stats. His stats sucked for his first 4 years. You know why? Do you guys know the answer?
It wasn't. Because it wasn't.
Because he got put in as different players.
He got put in as a different player, right? So let's say on year number 5, whatever year it is, player X leaves. Player Y, who's Mike McGuire, shows up. So instead of his manager entering a new player as Mike McGuire, he just deleted the name of his old guy and changed the old guy's name to Mike McGuire. So now Mike McGuire inherits 5 years of stats that aren't his. So on my phone, just for fun, like I actually have his name listed as fake McGuire because I don't know. I was drunk one day when I was talking to him. Can't you just delete the old stats? I'm like, I can't delete the old stats. They're like all part of the same player ID. This is how players are assigned on the back end of 400 hitter. So look, at the end of the day, 400 hitter is only as powerful as the managers who input the data. And you got 45 managers, well, probably more than that if you figure that every team has like 2 or 3 different guys who are doing it at some point. And not everybody pays as much attention as we do.
Brett, that was going to be my question. It was how hard was it getting, like, say, new teams, new managers, just the information that they need to run these teams, like how to input guys into 400 hitter the right way, right? Like, how hard was it to even like teach new teams, like, hey, make sure you buy uniforms, if they even had that ability to front the money for, say, 14 uniforms, or hey, find a way to front the money for your team so that they can pay their deposit in February, right? Like a lot of times, like taking, you agree to take on a team, or a new guy takes on a team, and you had no idea that it had to do all of this other work. It wasn't just showing up on Sunday and making out a lineup and worrying about whether 9 guys were going to show. I suddenly need to know what the weather is. I need to know how Billy's feeling. I need to know where I'm playing. I need to know, do they have
the field
uniform?
if it's rain, and like
I have to make sure their info is in 400 hitter.
It's funny. Like I tell managers every year, the new managers, I'm like, make sure you keep a rake in your car. And the manager's like, Rudy, you want me to keep a rake in my car? You're crazy. I have a new car. I got leather upholstery. I'm not keeping a rake in my car. I'm like, dude, trust me when I tell you, if you do not have a rake in your car, you're going to have 2 games a season that you don't play because you didn't bring a rake. Like,
Oh, and you're going to have to pay for the permit that you don't use, and you're going to have to pay for the umpires that are going to show up and aren't going to work.
right.
You didn't tell them that either.
Right, but you tell them that, and they'll like. There are people that they'll literally laugh at you. I'm like, dude, you got to get a rake. They're like, come on, man, Rudy, I'm not getting a rake. I'm like, dude, trust me when I tell you, get a rake. And they don't get a rake, and then you show up in a field, and there's a puddle at first that could have been cleaned up in 4 minutes. Like, hey, anybody have a rake? Nope, nobody had a rake. I mean, I had a game like 6 or 7 years ago where we played on paper plates as bases because the manager didn't bring a base. It was down at one of those Boston fields. It was,
God.
I want to say it was like Healy or one of those fields, and the manager didn't bring bases. He's like, oh, I didn't know you had to bring bases. And I'm like, dude, I told every manager at the beginning of the season, keep bases in your trunk. You're going to show up at fields, and they're not going to – every once in a while, they're not going to have a base. Like, you even show down up at Breed, and, like, Breed always has bases down. Except every once in a while, they might pick up the bases because they decide they're going to groom the field, and you're going to show up, and there are going to be no bases. I'm like, if you do not have bases in your trunk, there will be one game a year that you do not play because you didn't bring bases. And, like, just getting this behavior out of managers. But, like, Gibby, your original question was, like, how hard is it to get managers to adopt to these new processes? It's hard. When we first had 400 hitters, Steve Wolf was the president of the league, and he also oversees the 30-plus division. And he's like, yeah, 30-plus guys don't care about stats. They just want to play. I'm like, dude, they care. They're going to want these stats. And he's like, they won't care. They don't care. They don't care. So the first several years of the league, there were no stats for the 30-plus division because in his mind, they didn't care, and he didn't push it out to them. And then after some number of years, the managers were seeing what we were doing in the 18-plus division. And they're like, well, we want stats too. So it started to get adapted. It takes a while for things to adapt, but stats adapt really quickly. When you got 8 teams in a league and 7 teams are entering stats, and the guy on your team who's hitting 430 is getting absolutely no love on the website, he's like, manager, enter in my fucking stats. Everyone else love, and nobody's even talking about me. Get those in. So it adapts pretty quickly when guys are getting overlooked because their manager isn't putting stats in. But that's another reason that managers are kind of lenient on their stats because, let's be honest, they want their guys to shine.
It's true. It's true.
So,
it's a lot that you go into, and even when you first joined, there's a lot we just didn't know, and it took quite a few years to kind of learn all the little ins and outs and idiosyncrasies of this league that we just didn't know as just a player.
Right. I mean, when I started playing in this league, there were guys that didn't even know what league they were playing in.
Yeah.
Like, I got a game. Who are you playing for?
Yeah.
That might not be much different now. I'm just saying. There's a few that I could question.
But I think that's true to a large extent. It's like somebody says, hey, Gibby, I got a game on Wednesday at this field. Do you want to come and play? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll play. And then you show up and play a game. It's like I played one game for one team. Like, I don't know where I played. And I have a lot of guys that I link their career stats, and they played 3 games with some Park League team back in 1998. And they're like, I didn't play with this team. I'm like, yeah, you probably did. You're linked here. I'm not going to unlink you. You probably just had no idea that that's what happened, but I'm sure that's what's happened.
So I could talk stats forever, but I actually can't. So. At this point, Brett, you have worn many, many hats in the BMBL. You've done, I think, a little bit of everything. It feels like from being a player in the very beginning to kind of just finding your way into different pockets of where you could kind of be useful, and that's very clear. To kind of being you're on the board and all of that stuff. So what's it like when there's conflict on the board? Is it kind of like this,
And by the way, we didn't always have a board. I was trying to remember when it all started, because I know for a long time all there was a president and maybe a treasurer. But
yeah. So what happened? Kevin Riley was the president of our league at one point, and when he stopped becoming president, he was trying to find somebody to take over, and there were a bunch of us that said, well, why don't we all just get together and take over and run it like a business? You run the marketing, you run the operations, you do the finance, you do the rules, and like, let's just all run it as a business. And if we all take a little piece of this, then we can make this thing run smoothly. So at the time, it was Richie and Dolly and Jeff Coveney and me and Kyle Bridenstine, Tom Dowie, Mike Powers, I think was part of it.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure we called it a board then. At the time, it was just the guys who were going to put this thing together. And it was so, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was so much easier when everybody just had their responsibility. You run the 18s, you run the 28s, you run the 38s, you do the rules, you do the marketing. Like, everybody did their like small little piece, and it all worked out so well. And to this day, no other league really does that. Other leagues have boards, but not where they're run like a business in this way. Gib, I see you shaking your head a little bit. Like, I know the Hockey League has a board, the Park League has a board, but they don't really have like, all right, this guy's going to do the marketing, and this guy's going to do the website, and this guy's going to do the rules. Like, it doesn't really work in the same way. It's a well-oiled machine. Like the Park League for a while had a board where every single team had one member who was on the board and who happened to be like their manager. So I'm like, all right, so their board is basically just the managers in this league. So I think, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to hear your take on this, because it sounds like you have some inside baseball that I might not be aware of, but
I'd love to share it with you, because you know what, Brett? I commend you. I mean, like you said, to even have our league get to this point where it's grown to the capacity that, I mean, our league is thriving these days. It really is. And, you've played a major role in being kind of the glue early on to kind of keep it going for so long that it's gotten to this point where it is kind of a very well-oiled run machine. Like you said, there are guys who have stepped up, who have taken, the added role and responsibility, unpaid, right, to be these commissioners of these leagues, to make sure that they're being run the right way, and that it's running the right way, that there are all the parameters in place that managers may need. There are sources and people that managers know who they can go to if they have questions. Like, all that, I commend you for, because it had to get to that place in order for it to happen. And you really were the glue that's got it there. My pushback these days, and you kind of said it earlier, is, oh, well, I kind of run the 18s because no one is stepping up.
Right.
Okay, I understand why you're saying that, but has there been word kind of put out that, hey, does anyone want to do this, and are they willing to do this? My second question to that is, this isn't a knock on anyone that's currently serving on the board, because I think, honestly, honest to God, there's no better commissioner than Scott Isaacs. He's done a fantastic, right. So this is not a knock against him, against anyone else who's currently on the board. But my question is if they serve like the managers, how come the managers don't really have a say in who their commissioner is? Like, why do they kind of vote for it? And why, if you guys are kind of run like a board, like, why doesn't the league have any kind of bylaws that kind of just state that? Because I don't, at this point in time too, like, I don't think that is a bad thing too, to kind of maybe have the chance be put out there that, hey, we do need help, and maybe see if there are more guys who are willing to kind of step up and take on a responsibility. And if they're not, then so be it too, but at least you're kind of putting it out there. I just don't. Yeah, that's the only kind of the pushback that I have with it all. It's not the job that you do, and it's not the job that has been done, because I think, honestly, it's been fantastic.
Right. So I'll try to keep this answer as simple as I can, because I think at the end of the day, it kind of is simple. There's never been a person in this league who volunteered their efforts, who made efforts, who we didn't allow to do that thing. I'll give you some great examples. The people that I'm talking to right now, you guys wanted to do a podcast. We're doing a podcast. Take Whitney, who's doing all the sports reporting for us. Like, where the hell did Whitney come from? Like, I couldn't even tell you. Like, he just showed up at a game one day.
I could tell you.
All right, well, tell me in a second, because I do want to hear this. But he just showed up one day and started talking to us, and then he started doing field reporting, and now all of a sudden he's on our own field reporter guy. Why isn't anybody else doing field reporting? Because Whitney's doing it, and no one else has stepped up to do it. So he's just doing it. Why are lots of people, why is Kyle doing our finances? Why isn't anyone else doing it? Because you know why? Because Kyle's doing our finances. Like, nobody else has stepped up and said, well, we really need to do our finance better and taken it over. What it really comes down to is there has never been a person who volunteered their time, who stepped in and proactively just started doing work, who we have pushed away. It's never, ever, ever happened.
Right, but I think what Gibbs asking is, how would they know to do that? Right?
But I mean, I think how would they know? I mean, we kind of ask in the managers' meetings, but I think part of it is also the same proactiveness that happens, like in the workplace, for example. If you show up in an entry-level job and you never assert yourself and you never take the steps to get promoted, well, nobody's going to promote you. Like, if you want to move up in the corporate space, you kind of just have to do the job of the level above you, and to a point where people realize, well, shit, this guy's doing the job of, I guess I'll give it to him. So when the day comes along that somebody's like, hey, Rudy, you don't need to do the schedule. I'll do the schedule. Oh, by the way, I took a stab at doing it. I know you were going to do it, but I took a stab at it. Take a look at this. What do you think? Or, hey, by the way, Rudy, I know you have all this, have 400 hitter taken care of, but I proactively went and I added the new teams. How does this look? All of a sudden I'd be like, whoa, shit, I guess you have that taken care of. I don't need to do it anymore. And I'll take a step back. Like, I think people just need to be a little bit more proactive. I think there have been people that when you say, hey, we're looking for people to help out with the 18 plus, who wants to help out? There's like 2 or 3 guys that raise their hand. But then by the end of the season, like, what have they actually done from an, I'll call it administrative level? Like, they haven't proactively inserted themselves in the puzzle. And if you look at the people who are here, who are doing it now, Scott Isaacs is the commissioner of the 38s. He runs a newsroom for Fox. You look at Kyle Bridenstine, he's our CFO. He is the chief financial officer at a large organization. Jeff Coveney, who's our president, he has sold 3 companies in his career. I run marketing for the league. I'm a chief marketing officer in my real world. So the people who are on the board in our league, these are people who are senior level people doing these senior level roles in a professional setting in their real jobs. And now they're taking those same roles and doing them for like an amateur baseball league. And you wonder why our league is run better. Now, every once in a while, a manager will come to me and say, hey, you guys say you're the best run league, you're really a professional league, so why the hell are you doing this? So like, and I'm gonna give a real example here, not to call it out, but because you know what, I take it to heart. So Tyler Ferdinand, very well respected, has won Manager of the Year, 2, 3, 4 times, like very strong manager. He said to me, Brett, you are always claiming this is the best league in Boston. Why are we doing it like this? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let's fix that. Let's address that. Like, I'm always looking to get better. But if you don't call me out on something, like, I'm just going to assume it's running smoothly because nobody said anything. So, like, call me out. Tell me that the schedule's unbalanced. Tell me that we're not doing trophies in the right way. Tell me that we shouldn't be scheduling playoff games like this. Like, we can only make the league strong if we get the feedback. Now, all of that said, there are...
Can we do the banquet on a different day? Tuesdays suck.
So, look, there's a reason for the banquet. We always try to do the banquet on a World Series day so that we can have a World Series game on in the background while we're having the banquet. So that's always the plan.
All right.
But that
Brett,
can't be the only excuse either, though, or reason why, right?
Reason why what?
That just because a World Series game is on or not on, I mean, that really can't be the only reason that's why we have it on that particular day, right?
I mean, honestly, it kind of is, right? I mean, we do it during a weeknight because we don't want to do it on a weekend because a weeknight nobody has, people typically
Yeah.
don't have any other plans. And then I very specifically look at the World Series schedule and pick a day that there's a game.
But it was Wednesdays for a while, and then it moved to Tuesdays.
Look, it's a combination of I got to make sure that there's
you're
a
getting
World
called
Series.
out, Brett.
No, I got to make sure that there's a World Series game, and I got to make sure the game on is available. So it's kind of a combination of those two things, but it's always a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, always, because Friday, Saturday, and Sundays are like dead days because people have their own plans. And then you always run into issues at the end of October because it gets too close to Halloween. And I know that people are not going to go out 2 nights in a row because like their wife has other plans for them or they have to be with their kids or whatever. So with Halloween,
Their wife. You're blaming on the wife, Brett.
No.
I'm messing with you. I'm totally messing with you.
Halloween's on a Friday. I'm not going to do the banquet on a Thursday, right? So, that brings me down to Wednesday, Tuesday.
All right. You win.
So there is legitimate thought into it.
But going back to the board, it's no secret that all of us on the board are getting older, and who knows how many years we have left. At some point, we're going to have to start to groom the next generation. And that scares me a little bit, to be honest, because, as we said, there's not many young kids playing baseball or potentially even interested in a role like that, because once they get into the role, they realize it's probably more work than they anticipated.
So I'll ask you guys a trivia question tied to that. So ready for this? Dan, you might actually know the answer to this. So I'm going to leave it to Ange and to give. So our league is an 18-plus league. Our banquet is at a bar, which is 21 plus. In the last 3 years, how many people under 21 have tried to get into our banquet?
Do you have an actual number? Like, is there an actual number?
I know the number.
I'm going to say 0.
I'm going to say 4.
Gibby is very close, and it's 1. And I know that because it's happened this year, and it's Latorno's kid on the Maca Rays, who's Lucas Latorno, who's 19 years old or 18, and lumpy and wants to go with his son. And he said, how can I make sure I can get in with my kid because we won a championship, he wants to go. And we talked to Game On, and they said, hey, before 9 o'clock, people under 21 can go, but at 9 o'clock, I'm sorry, anybody who's under 21's got to get out of here. First time it's happened in 3 years. So we run an 18-plus league, and we don't even have anybody who's 18, 19, or 20 in the league. Like, what are we doing? Like, did we just pick our age groups wrong?
Honestly,
Cameron Bro is Cameron. Well, maybe they don't come because they know they're not of age.
That's not it at all. It's that they're not playing in the league. What were you going to say, Gib?
Yeah,
I was just going to ask if that was actually true. Like, there's only one person that age playing in our league.
We don't have any 18, 19, or 20-year-olds in this league. It's an 18-plus league, and we don't have any.
Yikes.
Cameron Bro, I think, is 20. But yeah, there's not many of them.
There's like one. It's like we're not talking about even a handful. We're talking like onesie twosies, and none that have tried to go to the banquet.
Yeah.
Because every year I email the managers. I say, managers, let me know if you have anybody who's under 21 because I need to make special accommodations that came on, and I don't have any. So,
but I also think you don't have to worry about the board being taken over by a bunch of 20-year-olds, right? The next generation to take on the board are going to be kind of like, I think, the next group of like 30-year-olds that are moving up, right? Like, and I think that there can be a creative way to do that, especially when, like you said, Brett, like you see talent or people who are standing up and doing more, I'm sure, within the league already. And I think that those people would be kind of like handpicked is what I would assume for the next kind of generation of the board. But I also don't see any of you leaving anytime soon. So
yes, fair enough. But in 1994 was the first year I played. By 1996, I was on the board. That was 29 years ago. 29 years ago, I was 22 years old, I think. So when I was 22 years old, I was one of 5 people running this league at the age of 22. So now maybe the world's changed since then, but I couldn't even name you 5 guys who were 22 in our league. And we were run by a bunch of 22-year-olds back then. And I know why. I mean, I can tell you why. It's like every AAU team and elite team, like these ball players don't show up and play baseball on a Saturday anymore unless something's organized by adults. And if there's nothing run by adults, you don't just see pickup game. Like, when was the last time you showed up at a field and there were 20?
We talk about that a lot. Yeah,
we talk about this a lot. So it just doesn't happen anymore. So where are these young kids who are going to take this over? And you think that's a problem now? Wait 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's going to get even worse.
So I'd like to move on if we can, because I want to get to all the charity stuff that you've done, which is quite a bit. But before we go there, I just want to ask this question, and I've always thought to ask, and I never did. But clearly, you've been running or helping to run the BMBL for a very long time, since 1990, whatever it was. And fun fact, Gib and I were actually drafted by the White Sox and Brett Rudy. That's how we got started in the league at one of the open tryouts. What brings you back every year? Why are you so passionate specifically about the BMBL and playing every year and being on the board? And what is it that brings you back every year?
I mean, I think a little bit of it, or maybe even a lot of it, it's really just legacy. It's something that I feel like I created in some part and enabled people to play. There are so many people who play in our league who they've been in each other's weddings. They have gone out with the sisters of teammates of theirs and married them. They've become best friends for life. They go on trips together. I mean, our league is way more than a baseball league. It is where friends come together. And like my kid, before he moved out, he graduated college and he moved out. He's on his own. That's another story for another day. Like, why don't you ever go out and hang out with any of your friends? I'm like, dude, I'm out with all my friends 5 days a week. Like, I play on 3 different teams, and every time I'm out, I'm with these 18 guys on Tuesday and these 18 guys on Wednesday and these 18 guys on Thursday. Like, I'm hanging out with my buddies all the time. So why do I come back? That's like the same question as like, why do you hang out with your friends? Like, for me, baseball's kind of secondary, actually. Like, I know there's a lot of players that are like, well, I'm not coming down if I don't start. And like, there's certain pitchers on teams and like, well, if I'm not pitching, I'm not coming down. Or like, oh, if I don't start, I'm quitting and I'm finding a new team. And like, for me, that is not it at all. Like, I really don't care if I play or not. Like, on my 52s team, I start, I bat first sometimes, I play center field, like, actually probably not on my 52s team. On my 45s team, I do. But what's funny is, like, I don't even care. Like, on my 38s team, I'm like the third guy off the bench. I'll like batting the B spot in the 11 slot in the order, like in a 38-plus league. Like, that's how good this league has become, that like a dude who's a 290 career hitter can't even start in a 38-plus league. But you know what? I don't care. I'm hanging out with my bros from 6:30 at night until 11 o'clock at night every single Monday. Why am I going to quit that? I'm not, like, when people say, are you quitting baseball? Why are you still playing baseball? I'm not playing baseball. I'm hanging out with my friends on Monday nights. And by the way, there happens to be a baseball game going on.
You get to be a kid a little bit longer.
Yeah, like, that's the answer for me. And then, you're still going to get these guys that are like, well, if I don't bat fourth and play shortstop, I'm going to go find another team. And those guys, I kind of feel bad for them a little bit. Like, I feel like they're in it for the wrong reason. I'm like, dude, you're not going pro. You're playing in the BMBL. Like, sorry, those days are behind you. Like, just enjoy this. Hang out with your buddies. Like, if you don't get that, you're missing it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's
So, I think we should get into your charity work, because you've done a whole bunch when it comes to charity. You started Charity Hop back. You have to remind me when that started, or can you tell us about Charity Hop, how that all started, when it started, and
Yeah,
right.
so Charity Hop started almost like kind of by accident. It was back in 2004, and we were at a managers meeting, and we were trying to figure out how we could lower the league fees, which is really interesting because I literally just got an email from Brandon Anderson, manager of the Expos, today saying, "Hey, what are the initiatives we could do to try to lower team fees?" I bring that up only to say what we were trying to do in 2004, we're still trying to do today. I mean, giving back to what you were saying before, like nothing has changed. It's exactly the same. But back in 2004, managers were saying, all right, well, what can we do to reduce league fees? And we said, well, what if we do a charity event? And John Diamond, again, who was the president of the league back in those days, he had the idea of a 100-inning game, which at the time was just like a batting machine game where you'd play 100 innings in like, an afternoon kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I had said, well, why don't we just turn it into like a real game and play this whole thing out? And I brought it up at a manager's meeting, and I said, well, people can sponsor us, and they can sponsor these adult players. And everybody's like, Rudy, you're crazy. Nobody's going to sponsor money so a bunch of adults can play baseball. And then Conrad Paquette, who was the manager of the Boston Cardinals, he actually said, well, why don't we just do it for charity instead? And we can give the money to like a charity. And it's like, wow, that's a great idea. And we ended up deciding to partner with the ALS Association of Massachusetts because Curt Schilling had just come to town. He became famous for like his bloody sock and KALS. And we called up ALS and we said we wanted to do this event, and they were all interested in it. And the first year we did 100 innings of baseball. I don't know if you guys remember this, but for every dollar a player raised, 50% of it
50% went to your league fees.
Yeah, went to your league fees, and the other 50% went to ALS.
That's right.
And anything over 250, 100% went to ALS. So the idea was once your league fees were paid off, you could couldn't start. And guess what? Those first 3 years that we did that, we raised more money than any other year.
Wow.
Any other year.
I forgot we used to do that.
But then at some point, somebody said, well, we shouldn't give it to the players. It's for charity, whatever. Yeah. And then we got rid of the motivation. And then what happened? And then the money went down from like $120,000 a year down to like $30,000 a year. And if you consider half went to players at 120, that's $60,000 versus we brought in $20,000. Like we actually brought in more for ALS when the players got half the money. So in hindsight, I kind of wish we never really got rid of that piece. But that's how that happened. So ultimately, all the money that got raised came in for ALS. We've been doing this for 23 years now, and I was kind of getting tired of saying we're almost at $1 million. Like, every time we'd promote the game, we're like, we've almost raised $1 million. We've almost raised $1 million. And finally this year, we finally passed $1 million. And like,
buddy. Yeah, dude. Big up.
But like when you go into ChatGPT and you say like, what does $1 million for ALS give you? Like you'll be blown away. Like when we started this game, it was all about awareness, raise awareness for ALS. I dare you to go find somebody who plays baseball who doesn't know what ALS is. Right. Everyone knows. The awareness problem has been solved. Cross it off the list. Everyone knows what ALS is. And it's shifted. And now it's about finding money for a cure. And the thing that I'll mention is when we first did the 100 innings of baseball game, we had about 6 or 7 people who had ALS come down to the game, and they participated in the opening ceremonies and the first pitch. And the next year, we invited them all back, and none of them came back because they were no longer with us any longer after a year.
Right.
Meanwhile, our umpire chief, Walter Benson, who's been diagnosed with ALS, and Rat Kennedy, who is with the Angel Fund, who's had ALS for, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe longer. They continue to come back year after year. Yeah. Now, maybe they might not be in the perfect health that you would expect, but when this game started, they wouldn't even be with us. And they're back. And Walter's still Walter. Like, he's the same dude that I've been working with for 20 years. His speech is a little bit different, and he's a little slower. But let me tell you, he's got the same wit. He's just as good as assigning umpires. He's the same dude he's ever been. And he's had ALS for a decade now.
In fact, he's probably taken on more.
More. So you think that ALS is not on our way to a cure. We're slowing it down. It's happening right now. And maybe in another 20 years, this will be behind us. And will we be the ones who cured it? No. But will we have played a small part in it? Of course. And like, take the Ice Bucket Challenge, like the largest ALS event that ever occurred. Am I going to take credit for it? Of course not. But guess who played in the 100 innings of baseball long before he started the Ice Bucket Challenge? Pete Frates. He played in our game. And then later that year started the Ice Bucket Challenge. And who were the first people to repost the Ice Bucket Challenge? The first people to repost it. The people from the 100 innings of baseball game. And as a result of that, maybe, I don't know, it ended up going viral and it took off. And it was the biggest movement ever for ALS. Again, not credit Pete Frates, everything he's done and his family has done since. Unbelievable. I'm merely saying that the baseball community in Boston helped enable that in some small way. And if it wasn't for us, would it have been as big as it became? I don't know. But we played a small part in it. And if we can play a small little part on solving the world's worst disease, as far as I know, then good for us. And every single person on this call right now has all played in well over 100 innings of this game in the last 20 years. Probably between the four of us on this call, we've probably played 100 times 22,000. I'm going to say we've played 5,000 innings between us in the 100 innings of baseball. And I'm not exaggerating.
Not wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. Right. No.
Another fun fact, Gibb took the very first at-bat in 2004 against Daryl Pena.
Daryl Pena, that's right.
And I was the first woman to play all 100. I mean,
that's right.
Getting first here.
I was also the very first strikeout.
And you were the first person to be hit by a pitch 237 times.
Thanks, Kevin O'Leary.
Thank you, Kevin.
Let's see, between Kevin O'Leary, Chris Dion, Mike Pollock hit you a few times, I think.
Yep. I don't even know half of the people who hit me, to be honest, at this point.
But I feel like and then late a little bit, to be honest.
You know, I've heard that, but I really think I just make the boys nervous, and that's okay.
But you know what? Like, all joking aside for a second, I think there's some truth to that, because like you'll see like every once in a while, like somebody will bring their 7 or 8 year old son or daughter to the game and like, hey, I want to give this kid an at bat. So whoever's pitching kind of tries to just sort of lob the ball in.
Yeah,
like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's all, yeah.
And I will say, where I've been hit in the ass twice, hit in the thigh once, and hit in the elbow once. So it's not like I'm getting hit in the titties. Like I'm not getting hit where the ball would be on the plate. So it's I don't know about that, but you know, whatever.
But not to get like political on this, but I feel like you got to treat the women like any other ball player on this.
Yes, that's not getting political. That is what we want.
Yeah, like we had a ball player this year, Bryn, I forget her last name, and she came in.
Tui.
Was that Tui? Okay.
Tui is our last name. Yeah, Tui.
The umpire. Oh, I'm sorry to throw him under the bus, but I'm like
walked away. What the fuck was that?
Wait, what?
He walked away from the plate because he was like, I want to let her hit. Yeah, it was like, so rude.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, get behind the plate and ump. And he'll be like, he's like, she can hit until she hits the ball.
Wait, this happened this year?
This year.
Yes, it was so disrespectful. If that was me, I would have, I would have charged the umpire. Like, never mind charging the mound when I get hit. It was so disrespectful. And Bryn was a baller. So like,
wait. So he said he wasn't
an outfielder, to be honest. And he talked to Walter about it after the at bat. I'm like, Walter, did you see that? He wouldn't even go behind the plate. He's just like, I'll go behind when she's done hitting. And I talked to Walter, and after the at bat, Walter talked to him, and it's like, if you ever do that again, it'll be the last time you ever ump for me. And he was fine from that point on. But I'm like, dude, just let her treat every ball player like they're the same.
Wow,
yeah, I had an umpire. I had an ump once. I got hit, and he told me to stay at the plate. And I was like, "Excuse me, I just got hit." And he's like, "Oh, I thought you wanted to hit the ball." I'm like, "I want to play like every other player here. I don't need special rules." You know what I mean? I think that not a lot of women play baseball, but when we do play, we want to play baseball because that's what we love doing. We're not a woman playing baseball. We're a player just like everyone else. and I've said this on this podcast before, a lot of times people talk about this brotherhood, this baseball brotherhood or the brotherhood of umpiring. And I don't want to change that. I actually enjoy being a part of the brotherhood because I don't think I need a penis to do that. I think it's just a vibe. It's an attitude. And I love that. I love being a brother. That's kind of just my jam. I've always enjoyed it, and I don't not want to do that or be treated differently. So yeah, when that ump walked away, and we'll just chalk it up to generational whatever, but like that was so disrespectful.
That's crazy. What did Bryn do?
Yeah.
I missed this completely.
No, she didn't do anything. The point
She didn't do anything. She just did her thing. Like she swung,
She was the first batter of the inning. The umpire was sort of sitting along the backstop fence, and she came up, and we're like, "You gonna pitch?" And he's like, "Nah, just pitch when you're ready." And we're like, "Blue, come up." He's like,
"No, he just walked away.
She can hit till she hits the ball.
She can swing until she hits, is what he said.
And then I think she like flew out deep to left field.
Yeah, she just like nailed it, and it like went right out, and it was like, you fucker.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, she legitimately was the best outfielder on my side for a while.
She was sick. She played ball. She's also could be growing pro. So
he's probably one of those guys that posts on those message boards.
I can't.
That.
Yeah.
I honestly, I know what. I think it was just a bad moment. It's not. I don't think it's his hormone, but
hopefully
just that's what I'd like to chalk it up as. I don't want to say anything else for him. So
yeah, I mean, look, I get it in a way. Like when somebody's 6 or 7-year-old daughter comes up, or son,
6, 7.
Right. We have to bring it all full circle. But like, Ryan Gagney's daughter came up like 2 or 3 years ago.
Mila, she's amazing. I love her.
Yeah, so she hits the ball to the pitcher who intentionally throws it over the first baseman. She takes second. The first baseman then throws it by the second base. Then she takes third. Like every year, there's like a 6 or 7-year-old that gets their inside the park home run so that they can have their moment. And all the players, we don't even need to talk about it. Everyone just knows. Like we know.
Mark DeRoche. His son.
Yeah. We'll talk about Mark DeRoche.
Will we?
Yeah, but this girl comes up to bat and they treat her like she's her 6 or 7, and it's like, no, she's a grown ass woman. She played college ball. Like let her fucking hit. So Mark DeRoche shows up with his son, waits 2 hours to bat so that he can.
Oh, you're talking about the intentional walk, yeah.
So that he can show his son that his dad plays baseball, because his son thinks he's a professional baseball player because he wears a uniform and comes down to a field because his son's a little kid and his dad's playing baseball. Of course he thinks he's a professional baseball player. There's a guy on second or third base. It's like, I don't know, the 63rd inning of a meaningless charity game, and the pitcher decides to intentionally walk Mark DeRoche.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode.
Now we're not going to get another at bat for like 2 hours because there's 40 guys batting. And we're like, you gotta be kidding me. So it turned into a WhatsApp thread that went on for like days. The next inning, we let Mark lead off in the next inning.
But there was good behind it, right? You know why they did that, right?
Do you guys know why? So there was a $1,000 bet. So that the pitcher who was like only going to pitch 1 or 2 innings had made $1,000 bet for ALS. Like the money was going to go to ALS if he struck him out. So it was a good thing. And had we have known, obviously, had we have coordinated better, we should have talked to you guys. But it really was like a coordinated donation for ALS. That was either way, somebody was going to pay $1,000 to ALS. Sorry. So
did that actually happen?
Yes.
Well, he didn't strike out.
No, but
then the pitcher was. So if the pitcher didn't strike him out, the pitcher was going to pay $1,000, and if the dude at the base got struck, and it did happen. We saw it. Like he did it.
So the pitcher made $1,000 donation for that.
Yeah, correct. So, and that was the whole thing. It was like they had made a wager against each other, but the pitcher, he was an older gentleman, and I can't remember his name, but he was only going to pitch like 1 inning, and specifically to pitch to that dude, and he was coming up after Mark. So had we have known, obviously we would have wanted Mark to show his MLB stud skills to his son, but like we had no idea, and like, we were all living in our own worlds at 1 a.m.
And
I
thought,
want to let Kevin O'Leary know this, that there was $1,000 donation made on behalf.
Well, I'm sure he's watching. So.
Oh wow!
I think he wrote a check and handed it to Walter. I think that's how it went down. Like they did it like at the game. They gave right to the Angel Fund.
So we
Yeah.
thought it would have been the first intentional walk in 100 innings history, but then Angie said that she was intentionally walked.
You were intentionally walked?
When I got engaged. So when Zach proposed to me, they intentionally walked me. And then Zach threw the ring at me and went for his at bat.
So I don't know if I've told you this before. You might have, but I was in center field when this happened, and there was nobody doing the play-by-play. There was no TV. So, like, I'm in center field, and you're at bat, and, like, Zach's walking out. I have no idea what's going on. Like I didn't even know that was – I know, but I had no idea. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get off the field. This game's moving so slow. Like, can we move this line?
It was like the second inning. What do you mean this is happening so slow?
I know, because like every inning in the 100 innings, like every time you spend 5 minutes, it's 5 more minutes at the end. And I promise you that from center field, you had no idea what was going on. Like, yes, you were proposing, but I promise you there was no idea. None of the outfielders had any idea that was what
That's
was going
hilarious.
on. Yeah, but that was pretty wild. I think you remain to this day. I don't want to say 100%, but I think you're the only person who's ever been engaged on the field during the game. But there was that other couple that they played softball together that they were in the
Nikki
game.
and Eddie. Yeah.
And I feel like they might have got engaged on the field too. Did they or no?
No. They got engaged before.
Wait, what did they give them a shout out?
Nikki and Eddie, and they're having their third baby. So Nikki and Eddie, if you're listening, congratulations on baby number 3.
Congratulations.
Wow, amazing.
Third baby.
Why don't they play anymore?
Huh?
Why don't they play in the game anymore?
Because they have 3 babies. I think they're like 3 under 4 at this point.
All 100.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have 3 under 4, which is bananas, but they are ballers, and they're gonna do it.
Hey, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't someone get ejected in the very first charity game?
I mean, if Steve Balisari played, there was a good chance he probably was ejected.
Somebody got ejected.
I'm pretty sure it happened.
That was out in Cooperstown.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that too. No, I think there was. I really do.
Like, if you get ejected. So, actually, can I circle back to this? This is back to the very beginning of this whole podcast. But, you know, Gibby, you were talking about ejections earlier on. And I think there's a big difference between. Here's the thing. When you know the umpires, you tend to be more respectful to the umpires. And the thing is, Ange, Gib, you know, Dan, you guys all played in the league. Everybody knows you guys. This is true. You might find this hard to believe because I know you're umping and you hear the other side of things. But having been a player in games that you guys have umped, because I've been players in games that you guys have umped multiple times, and I've never seen a single remotely close incident with any of you guys. And in every other game that I play, there are incidents every game. Everybody's arguing plays every game. I've never seen and Gibby, I'm sure you can tell me a million instances where this happened, but in every game I've played, I've never seen anybody argue a call against you. Not one.
We're the shit.
Same for you. And same for you. And yes, obviously it's because your guys are wonderful umps, but it's also because people respect you because they've played with you, so they know you know the game. So when you make a call, even if it's a little off, maybe they'll give
There's
you
also guys that play with us that have been as we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So it happens.
For that particular reason.
But like, has Dino argued calls against you guys in the same way he would with another ump?
Not in the same way, but
maybe not.
But he's giving us shit.
Maybe not in the same force and maybe condescending attitude, like that was a ball. But he's chirped about maybe a pitch that didn't go his way, which I expect, which I want. You know, like.
Well, you can't take the baller out of the ball player.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I would want him to say like, "No, Gibby, that's a low," or "No, that's out," or whatever. I would hope that they do. You know,
but at the thing. I don't know why I'm picking on Dean. I love the kid, but like, he might say to you, Gibby, that was a bullshit call. But if it's with you, he's going to stop it right there. And if he doesn't know you, he's going to keep going for innings. Again, and not picking on him. I'm just using it as an example, because my point of the story is, I think that more of our ball players, when they're done, and not that you guys are hanging them up, but a lot of guys do, they should become umpires, because I feel like the ball players have a lot more respect for umpires that they've played with than umpires that they haven't. And all 3 of you have played. Everybody's played with you guys.
it's one of the reasons why we started this show. And also, I think as players, you can tell the umpires that are, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. You can tell the umpires that are just there for the paycheck, and you can tell the umpires that actually
we've
want
talked
to
about
be
that.
there and love the game of baseball and put in 100%. So
Right.
Dino just said he's never been thrown out of a game before. I don't know
Wow.
if I believe that, Dino, but
So
if you're saying it, I
where
believe
did he
it
put that? I
on
didn't see that.
the BMBL
Oh, it's the
feed. I
BMBL
mean,
one.
if he's saying it, I believe it because obviously we could probably find out. But like, okay.
I love the fact that we
No.
just mentioned a random player and he happened to be That's fantastic. Welcome to the show, Dino.
Amazing.
But really, that
we
was-
also. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say we also both guessed the same number 4 for the players that were under 21 or whatever. But anyways, or that tried to enter.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All I was going to say, Brett, was that was really one of the sole reasons why I started umping was that I thought that the overall quality of the umpiring in our league had drastically gone down, especially after right around COVID or whatever,
Yeah.
And that's really why we took the classes, just because I really wanted to educate myself more. And I say it all the time. I wish I did it a lot sooner because I would have been a much calmer, at least, ball player. Like when I first was in the league, I was angry. I was upset. My father had just died. I think I was playing with a lot of bitterness and hatred, whatever, depression, whatever, like it really took me a while to kind of mature as a ball player, as a human being, as a teammate, as a friend, and this league kind of let me do it, and that's why honestly I feel the way I feel is because there's a lot like I feel like I have to give back to this league. And it was really one of the sole reasons why I'm umping as much as I am now, and you're right. For the most part, I think that the guys that know me know that, me, D, Ange, we love the game as much as we do. We're going to call it the way that
As best we can.
as best we can, and as well as we can, and no other way, because why would we?
And because you guys have all been on the other side of the play. So they know that you're going to give it your best effort there. You know what we should do next year, actually? We should see if somebody can schedule an umpire training day that we do for BMBL players, some Saturday before the season starts, and just see how many people we get down and do an umpire clinic but a player umpire clinic.
So I did a clinic where where there was a game going on while we were learning. And I will say you can learn all the rules and you can kind of learn all the positions. The hardest part is being in the right place at the right time when a play is made. And we're all going to make those mistakes because you know what? You can try as hard as you can to get to third when there's a play being made over there or back to second when there's a pickle. And sometimes you just miss the angle and sometimes you just miss it. And it sucks for us. We text each other after games that we know we fucked up, right? But it's a hard thing to do. And so it would be really nice is if players themselves got into that position and saw how hard it was sometimes to make the right call. Because I know each and every one of us on this call try our damnedest and we work really hard going to clinics, going to webinars, trying to make sure we have the right positions. But sometimes you're just not in the right place at the wrong time. And that's really hard because sometimes that call is on us and we have to own that. But we also try to get better after every game and we try to do that too. But I think to Gibbs' point, I don't know that we see that in a lot of other people on the field. I mean, I think there are other umpires who do that for sure. Yeah. And I think we know who they are. And I think that there are some umpires that don't care about their craft as much. And that's, I think, why I wanted to start umping because I was like, wait a minute, I can do a better job than that guy.
All right. So I'll give you my hot take.
Same.
From a Major League Baseball standpoint, there's a couple of things that are absolutely killing the game. Both tied to umpires. Number one is the white box behind home plate that shows whether the umpires are getting it right or wrong. It's killing. That's absolutely killing the game. And then the other thing tied to this is also instant replay because in real life, calls don't you don't see plays at 24 frames a second. You see them in real time. So when somebody can take that freeze frame in 4K HD and freeze it down and see he was off by 2 inches. Well, you saw it in real time while you're running towards a play, and it's happening while the ball is moving to third base at 80 miles an hour, and the run's sliding, and the dirt's going in the air, and bodies are all over the place, and you made the call. And then they go and show an instant replay, and everybody in the stadium watches it, and he's like, he was obviously out. It's like, well, not the way the humans saw it. And then, you talk about the pitches with the white box behind home plate, and it's like in real life, like catchers are framing pitches and balls. And
the white screen is a 2D image, and the plate is 4D. So it's where the ball crosses the plate. And I think you can watch some pitches and see where, holy shit, that was a great pitch. It was a strike, but where the catcher caught it, or it was outside of that 2-dimensional white box, and it looks like a ball on TV. And I think that that's the hard part of watching what you're talking about happen live, because we know, and yes, granted, it's hard to make every correct call, but it's not as easy as sitting on your couch and guessing, I would say.
Well, I get into arguments on social media all the time with people about this, and I don't care.
You too?
It's crazy. But I just assume it's because I know baseball better than 99% of the people that I'm arguing with. And it's like, you know what? With these robo umps that they're gonna have next year, I mean, you got me all fired up on this. The catchers, their number one job is to call a game. Their number two job is to block balls and frame pitches. Now with these robo umps, where the umps are gonna call pitches automatically, and the catchers don't need to frame pitches anymore. Literally, what's the point in having a catcher? You're like, well, if there's guys on base. I'm like, okay, well, assume there's nobody out and nobody on. Why do you need a catcher? Well, they need to say whether it's what pitch to call. I'm like, why do they need to do that? The pitch goes right to the pitcher's ear in their helmet, where they have a microphone that tells them what to pitch. So if there's nobody on base and nobody out, why do you actually need a catcher? Well, somebody has to catch the ball. It's going to hit the umpire. I'm like, so you're telling me literally the only reason the catcher's there is to stop the umpire from getting hit by a pitch, an umpire that you don't need because instant replay is going to call the pitch instead of them? It's like technology has gotten to the point where it's eliminating the need for 1/9 of your baseball players. You don't need a catcher. Why do you need a catcher if catchers don't need to call the pitches and if catchers don't need to catch the pitches? What do you actually need a catcher for? In case there's a play at the plate? Well, how often does that happen? Once every 2 or 3 games? So instant replay is absolutely destroying the game because people are, well, I'll tell you why. It's because of gambling. People put $10,000 on a game and they want to make sure the call's right because they got $10,000 on the line. And so they got to make sure that the call is right. So now they have instant replay that are calling the games, and what has it done? It's eliminated the need for umpires. It's eliminated the need for the catchers. But from my standpoint, baseball is about art as much as it is about science. And if you can make a player look like he is out, well, then guess what? He's out. So if a catcher can frame a pitch so that it looks like a strike, Gibby, if I can fool you to make a ball look like a strike, then good for me as a catcher. I beat you. I won. It's a cat and mouse game.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but what about the perfect game that should have been, but because Jim Joyce, was it?
Jim
blew
Joyce.
blew the
Yeah,
call.
Jim Joyce.
Blew the call.
Galarraga, perfect game.
Galarraga.
So how many years ago did that happen?
It was a while ago, but
was that 90 something?
So 1990.
I'll look it
but
up.
had they had instant
So in the
replay?
last 20 years, you found me one instance of.
Oh no, you can. I'm sure there's more.
No, but I know I'm not picking on you because this is the same example that everybody gets.
It was 2010. Why does it feel like it was so much later than that? My bad. So 2010.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago,
15.
you got 30 teams that are playing 162 games a year times 15 years. How many games is that they fucked up one play? Now, you're going to say, oh, well, umpires, they missed 10, 20 pitches a game. I'm like, do they miss them or did the catcher deceive them? And if the catcher deceived them, then good for the catcher. Now, people will say, well, umpires should be assessed by the same metrics that batters are assessed. Now, to that, sorry if I offend you guys, but I completely agree.
Scorecards do it after every single game.
I think every game. And
agreed.
And if Gibby over the end of the season says Gibby's only making 83% of his calls right, and all the other umpires are making 90% of their calls right, well, then maybe it's time for Gibby to go to the minor leagues. But if Gibby's getting 93% of his calls right, and everybody else is getting 90% calls right, then maybe Gibby should be doing the All-Star game. So I think that one reason MLB is doing it wrong is they're not putting their best umpires in the playoff games. They should be doing that based on performance. But
I disagree. I don't think that's what they do at all. I mean, I think the playoffs and the postseason umpires are like selected specifically and given bonuses if they make it.
Not
right. So
though. It's not based on stats. It's based on personal opinion.
Is it really? So, but not the World Series, because I just watched a whole thing on how they choose the World Series umpires.
So can you tell me that? Because I have not seen that.
Yeah. So I'll find it. It was Umpire Channel had actually. It was an Umpire Channel reel. I'll find it. I'll send it to you. But they were talking specifically about Alan Porter, who has had a hell of a year as an umpire, and they picked them each individually based on their statistics, their tracks, and like what calls they make. And what I found really interesting was they also talked about decorum, right? How they are on the field, how they treat players on the field, how if a player challenges a call, do they react quickly? Do they have kind of like the mannerisms and the calm, cool collectedness that you would hope they would have? And that was also a part of it. And I think that they score them, and then at the end of the score, I think this is how it goes. I could be mistaken. But then the like highest people with all of the qualities that they want for the postseason World Series game get that game. I could be wrong. I will double check. But there was a system to it, and decorum was a part of it.
So imagine you're an umpire. You have an incredible decorum. You are able to keep managers at bay when they're going wild and they're about to throw helmets and kick dirt and push you and all sorts of things. And then after all of that, keeping them down, you go to instant replay, you watch the tape, and you find out that the umpire was indeed wrong after all. In this instance, it happened 1 out of 5 times. And the ump is now overruled and made to look like a complete asshole. So now what's the point of even having these umpires? We have umpires on the field at a major league level that are made to look like absolute dicks, because if they're right, nobody cares, and if they're wrong, everybody goes to replay. It's absolutely destroying a game that is as much art as it is science, and they're turning it into technology so that they can fulfill gambler roles so that nobody's losing money on bets they should have won. I just think that MLB has a big problem. And this doesn't happen at the amateur ranks. Like earlier this year, I made what I believe to be a fantastic catch. I was playing for the Mariners, and I caught a ball in right field, and the umpire called it a trap. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
That was against. I think I was there for that, against us, right? Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was.
But you know what? I didn't make the ump think I caught it. That's on me. So whether I caught it or not doesn't matter. I didn't make the ump think I caught it. And that's on me. And at a major league level, they're going to go back to the tape, and it doesn't matter what the umpire thought or what I thought. They're going to go back to 24 frames a second and call it the way it was. And I think that's a big problem. I think it should be, did the runner deceive the fielder? Did the pitcher deceive the batter? It's about art as much as it is about science. And then people will say, well, the rule book doesn't say that. I'm like, well,
half the people don't know what the rule book even says.
I'm like, but that aside, you can't put art in a rule book. Like the rule book says the strike zone is between the knees in a spot that's half the spot between the waist and the letters, or whatever the strike zone is now. It changes every year. But in real life, it's like, did the ump think it was a strike or not? And like, that's what it is. And instant replay's got to figure that out. Like you talk about the white box. There's the same white box for Aaron Judge as there is for Jose Altuve. Well, they're like 2 feet difference in their height.
Yeah. Well, that comes up all the time in high school games too. It's the same. And people are like, well, you called that a strike. Well, it's because he's 2 feet tall. So totally. And I think we could talk on and on and on about like that. I do want to say that there is a human element of baseball that I do not think that we should take away, and I think that there is a human element of the interaction between the player and the umpire, and calling, and just kind of like you said, deceiving, not kind of overtly catching a ball or checking a swing, right? I do think that there is a part of it that should be and is umpire discretion. I do think that umpires can be wrong. And more oftentimes than not, if I'm wrong and like Gibby's my like plate ump and I was like, did I get that call wrong? Like you saw that. And like, say the play's over, I call the kid out, right? And I go to Gibby and he's like, no, I think he was safe. I'm like, damn it. Like I wish that I would rather call a fair game than a correct game. And I think that as an umpire, if I got it wrong, I want to know so I can make my angle better, right? For me, I wouldn't feel like an asshole if it was shown to not be a correct call. I would work on my craft and I would feel like I should have done better. But I think, again, that's the difference between kind of the umpires who are ego and umpires who want to call a good game. And I think that's where the kind of messiness lies with the replay.
I don't know where this balance comes into play that you're talking about in
Fair.
reality, from the standpoint that I have, over the course of the last season, let's say, let's call it 10, where I've said, hey, Blue, can you go check with him? Mm-hmm. And the other ump goes and checks with him, and 0 out of however many times it's been has the call been overturned. And I only ask for that when I actually think that the call.
And I think that that's a shame. And I think that's what the three of us have been talking about, like on this podcast from the beginning, right? That there are some umpires who want to be correct, and regardless of what you say, and regardless of the fact that you want them to go ahead, Dan, sorry.
No, and most of the time umps get together, they're probably just talking about what they had for dinner, because they don't want to make their partners
they don't want to be wrong.
Look bad.
But I think that's a big piece of it. But here's the other piece. So, Angie, let's say you bang a guy out at first base. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, that's bullshit. He was safe. Can you check with your home plate ump? Mm-hmm. So Gibby's the home plate ump. And now you're like, because you want the teams to feel like you're at least listening to them, I'm going to go talk to Gibby. So you talk to Gibby, and Gibby had it the other way. Well, now it's a 50-50. Now it's 50% Gibby, 50% you. So if it's 50% Gibby, 50% you, 50% doesn't override your 50%.
But if Gib was closest to the play, that
right.
matters as well.
But is that what it is? So Gibby's 58 feet, you're 62 feet, so you're going to let Gibby make the call?
No, I'll answer it for you, Brett. One, it's honestly going to matter about how you come out and ask for help, your demeanor, and maybe whatever you say to our partner. First and foremost, right? If something like, say there was a play that kind of pushed him off the bag and he tagged him before he hit, he got to first or whatever. And then Ange comes down and she says to me, say you came out and you were, real polite, real nice, like, hey, like, I think he might have got a tag there. Can you check with your partner? All right. And she comes down and she says, hey, did you see something I didn't?
Yes, correct.
Or was there something I missed? And I said, well, yeah, I saw a tag. Do you want to get the call right? Or, you may come out and be like, yo, you blew that. You said there was a tag.
Yeah.
Can you go ask for help? Go ask for help. And she comes down and she says, hey, what do you think? And I'm going to be like, yeah, I had a turkey sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to depend on a lot of the situation that leads to it.
I do think that that's part of it. Sorry, Brett, but one more thing. I also think if I have a call wrong, honestly, 9 times out of 10, I know it, right? Like, I know that I know that I didn't get the right angle, or I know I was too slow, or I know I could have.
Or you're going to have an inkling.
Right, exactly. So chances are if I go to Gib, I might say to Gib, and I think I have on a couple of times been like, I don't think I had the right angle. Did you see? Yeah. And then Gib will say, no, I had a tag before. And that's why we get together. And there has been maybe 1 or 2 times where I've refused to ask for help because I knew I had it and I knew that the angle that the other person had wasn't good. I mean, like the coach who was asking me to check, and I'll say, no, I got that call. I'm not questioning, we're moving the game along. But that only happens if I am 1,000% positive that I got the call right. But otherwise, I will check.
And Brett, here's the hard part too. Sometimes a lot of managers will be like, "Oh, can you go ask for help?" And be like, "No, because that's my call." Like
there's a
I
couple.
saw it the way I saw it, and there's really not going to be much interpretation where
Right.
my partner may have saw it another way.
Right.
So, all right. So let's just slim this down. So there's three of you here. What's your take? Instant replay or no instant replay? And I know you're going to say, well, there's balls and strikes, and then there's stuff on the bases. Like, let's just pretend that it was either yes, instant replay, or no, none. No rules about during perfect games or home runs over the fence. You either have replay or you don't. What are you for or against?
I'm for it. I don't think with balls and strikes. I don't.
Yeah,
but I do
right,
think that because it is a game and there can be human error. And I do think that it should be a fair game. And I believe in, and I'm going to sound like Zachary for a minute. I do think that there is a social justice to baseball that I love. And part of that is that if I do think that the ump missed it as a coach, as a player, I can ask for that. That's fair. Now, balls and strikes, F that. That's my call. And I don't think I think that is why there is an umpire behind the plate. And I think that that moves the game along, and we're not checking every pitch. We're not doing it because you know what? That one missed ball or that one missed strike isn't why you lost, Jimmy. Right. But
Right.
It is. And it could be a play at the plate why you lost. It could be, it was your second out and that play on third, I called out, but it was safe. That I think is why we should have it. That's my take.
My question was going to be, are we talking MLBs or are we talking our league? Because as a player, honestly, as a player,
I wish
Brett,
we had replay in our league.
But I understand what you were saying earlier. There have been plenty of times, right, where I'm playing shortstop or something, may have dropped a ball behind me, behind the bag, and still got it. But I showed the umpire my glove with the ball in it, and got the out. But
you're
right. That's an art form, right?
And also,
yes, because you sold it,
True that.
right? I bought that call, right? Yes, I totally understand that as a ball player, but as an ump, I have the mindset where I want to get every call right.
But it comes down to what is right and whether or not calls are factual or art. And to your point about hey, you sold it, it doesn't matter what the instant replay on 24 frames a second is. It's that you sold it. You made the ump think that you had it. And that's that. It doesn't matter what the replay shows. It's that you beat the ump.
And again, but the umpire is still making a subjective call of what he sees, right? Or, all right, if what he sees is, you selling the play to him, then that's what he sees. He didn't see. All right, did he see the play the way he should have? Was he in the right angle?
And I think it can help umpires get better because if they do miss a call, a lot of times, and we've learned this as umpires, it's due to probably the way they were positioned, or a lot of the judgment calls, and they teach this in the class, is not because your judgment was wrong. It's because some of your mechanics were probably incorrect.
Yeah.
So
All
I
right,
think.
so let me throw out a proposal then. Tell me for or against. Okay, major league level.
I love how this became your podcast, Brett Rudy. By the way, go ahead. Major league level.
All right. At the end of every month, the bottom 10 performers, based on factual analysis of replay, get sent down to the minor leagues, and the best 10% in the minor leagues, based on statistics from instant replay, get called up. In return for that, no instant replay during games.
Oh, it's an either or.
I mean, I don't think you can base it just on instant
It's not an either or.
replays.
So in a game, I don't get to question a ball or a strike or whatever, but it gets recorded. So at the end of the month, the bottom 10% go down, the top 10% go up. But in any given game, anything that's called stands.
I think that's an interesting concept, and I don't hate it. I do also, again, believe that there is human error, and that, and I think for us, for the three of us, and we talk about it all the time, we don't get evaluated. So I think one of the benefits of instant replay for me, honestly, is that that's evaluation. That's live evaluation, but I don't have that. So
Exactly. It's
And-
almost like evaluating a teacher based on how good they are, based on a student's test score, right? All my performance is going to be based on the fact of whether Johnny passes this test or not. Does that make me a good teacher?
But if Johnny passes, no. But if at the end of the year none of your kids get into college and all of Angie's kids get into college, don't you think it was because of the teacher?
Not necessarily.
I don't think this whole. I just want to say this. I don't think
It's a
this one
bad
is a good
comparison.
analogy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think this
because
is a
there
good
are way too many
analogy
other
with two
factors.
educators at
Yep.
the table.
So
But
like Powers is saying that the union won't allow this, but
yeah, I
Powers,
don't think they will.
Brett, what
but
percentage of is that beer you're drinking?
This is a 6.9. This was a
Okay.
7.6, and
True.
I'm gonna need another
All
one.
right.
If you're finishing 3, then it might be time to wrap up at almost 10:30.
Yeah.
This is going to be like
Right.
our longest podcast
Oh,
ever.
well, you knew it was going
I
to
mean,
be.
I'll keep going as long as you guys want to keep going.
I mean, we probably would too, Brett. But
I'm just saying you should be able to gamble on amateur baseball. Me, Gib, and Terrio actually we had text messages.
We put lines out for
We
almost
put
every
lines
game
out
we
on the
did.
playoffs, and we were
That's
they were
we
pretty
were
damn
amazing.
close.
We were pretty
We
close.
put totals out as well as money
we
lines.
put a line out on the 100-inning game.
That
Dude,
too.
I will tell
yeah.
you the only lines that nobody would have won, like 100% of the people who bet on these would have lost, is anybody who bet on the Senators to go extra.
I was just gonna say, like the live betting in that game would have been
Oh my
out of control.
God. This was probably the most tight playoff games I've ever seen in all of the years playing.
It was awesome.
it was great baseball.
Even if you weren't on the team, you had like nerve. You had like
Oh yeah, people were watching the live streams. Like I was watching the live streams with a lot of people chatting. Like they were good games. And the ones that I went to were awesome.
So I know I didn't broadcast as much as I normally do. My wife was
Zero,
in Paris.
actually. Zero.
I know. My wife was in Paris for a month, so
Oh, hard life.
I was at home with the dog, tough. But I was watching all of the games, and I forget which game it was, but it's like it's like bottom of the 7th, bases loaded, tie game. Dan's like, I think my battery's gonna go.
Yeah.
Right there. And then like
People were freaking out.
And, like, saves the day and like plugs
It's
in
like
his phone and like,
the end of The Sopranos.
yeah, like
Yeah.
puts it back in, and like a minute later, it's like, and the inning's over, and we're going to the 23rd.
It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I want to, for me anyways, I can attribute it to the 100 innings that like everybody who plays, I'm like, oh, I love that guy. Like everybody who plays and all the people that I see in the league after playing the 100 innings, like I feel like is a brother, is a teammate. And so like when I watch them play games, and especially in the postseason games, like I'm rooting for all of them at the same time because I'm just really happy to see them in this place.
Thanks, Dave.
But I think that has something to do with how exciting this series was. It was so good, and the baseball was so good. So I think people really got into it this year, more so than I've seen in postseason games in other years in the BMBL.
You know what happened this year too? So like my personal team, I have 2 teams that are on WhatsApp. I don't know if you guys have like your own like communications with your teams, but like on WhatsApp we have it going on, and like at one point our team is texting each other on WhatsApp, and we're like, you guys know it's like the 57th inning, and like the Senators are still whatever it was, like the 12th inning, and like all of a sudden every single player on my team is like, we're now watching the game on the live stream together, and we're talking about it, and I think this was like, it was probably the most highly watched games that the BMBL has ever had. Was one of those Senators games where it's like, Brock Riley's throwing like his 14th straight inning or something.
Seriously,
Yeah.
He's a beast.
It's like ridiculous. But what I was going to say that's really cool about these broadcasts, I will meet players that I've never met ever, I don't think, in real life. And I'll walk up to him and I'll be like, hey, what's up, Brock? And he'll be like, hey, what's up, Brett? And I'm like, I don't think I've ever met him. And here we are talking like we know each other, and we've met each other a million times, and we've like literally never met each other, because these broadcasts, like he knows me, and these broadcasts, I know him. And like, I don't even know if we've met in real life or not, but we know each other because of these broadcasts. And I think it's really tremendous that it does that, because I don't think that the example that I just gave you is isolated. I think it happens all the time.
I'm still convinced that we started the whole trend. We were doing live streams way back before anyone.
We did it first. Nobody did it. Now everybody does it. And in fact, you were the first person to do like the little like person on first, person on second and third, and now it's standard with, you know, Switcher Studio or whatever. Like you were doing this long before Switcher Studio ever existed.
Yep.
We
doing started the trend. Too bad we didn't capitalize on it.
Well, like, look, here's the thing, and we could keep this podcast going another 3 hours, but like the trick is to always be one step ahead, because once you do something that's really cool, like everybody's going to be doing it. Oh, you have a player pool? Well, great. Now everybody has a player pool. Oh, you're broadcasting your games? Great. Well, now everybody's broadcasting their games. Oh, you have an mid-season tournament, whether it's Cape Cod or Halloween tourney or whatever. Well, now everybody has a mid-season tournament. Like, all right, well, what are you going to do next that nobody's doing? And you always need to come up with that thing. And I don't know what. I mean, I'll be candid. I don't know what that next thing is. Like, I think about what the big things I've done in my career, and I'm proud of them, by the way. But like 100 innings, I've been doing it 20 years. Cooperstown 20, I've been doing it 20 years. Winter ball, I've been doing it 20 years. Well, like, okay, like good for me. All I'm doing is picking up, repeating, and everybody's showing up. Like, I don't even have to do anything anymore for these events. I just tell people it's happening and they show up. Like, what are we going to create that's new that nobody has done? And I feel like in amateur baseball, there hasn't been anything the last 2 or 3 years that's brand spanking new. Like, all right, there's a fall league in Boston.
Well, the glow in the dark ball, it's not new, but the glow in the dark ball looks so awesome.
Remember we wanted to
that looks so cool.
Fantasy baseball.
I watched the glow in the dark ball the other day. Like, do you know this? Have you been following the rules? Do you know what happens on ball 4?
Well, they took a lot of the bananas rules.
But check this out.
Did they?
This is fucking wild. There are no walks on glow in the dark ball. On ball 4, the catcher gives you the ball and you hit it out of your hand and put it in play.
Oh, get out!
You don't get a walk. So ball 4, catcher gives it to you. You have to hit it.
And you just throw it up for yourself.
Yeah,
okay.
You can fly out to left.
Right.
You just walked, you're out. Or you could hit it out of your hand and hit a gapper and get a triple. Like, it's
totally, yeah, that's wild.
They give you the ball and you have to hit it, and it's quick. There's like a time limit.
Oh.
The catcher gives it to you, and you're like, you got to go. You can't like sit around, check your outfield, like. But I watched Glow in the Dark on ESPN or Nesson or wherever the hell it was. Like, you literally can't watch it for more than like a minute. These guys, like, the Boston Metro Baseball League has better players that are in this league.
Really? Okay.
The only thing these guys have going for them is that they're using glow ball, glow uniforms, and they somehow put fluorescent lights in their whole stadium. So it's kind of neat, but the novelty wears off in like 5 minutes.
I believe that. I believe that.
Well, I felt that way about the
BMBL
bananas.
Gonna get? Oh, sorry.
No,
really? Did you really, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Globetrotter. It's for kids. I want
to
watch real baseball.
It's not worn off, though, at all.
Well, I know.
They've already announced their 2026 tour, and it's already sold out.
It's huge.
It's incredible.
I know.
Yeah. And
they're going to be at Gillette this year.
We've talked to Jesse a bunch of times.
And then they're like, by the way, we're going to have 6 teams this year, and it's going to be a banana ball league, and we're going to have the Texas Tailgaters and the party animals and the unknowns and what
and the firefighters. But you know what they're doing? They're doing what the MLB has failed to do. They're bringing kids back to baseball. And when I tell you, when I do games after a Savannah Bananas game, and every single one of those kids has a Savannah Bananas hat on, or they have the Dunkin' Donuts sunglasses that they gave out one year, every single kid is talking about that game with the same excitement that I remember talking about players in my youth. Talking about
MLB hasn't adopted any of this. They're like, what are they waiting for? Like, obviously, I know Dan and I know all of you, actually, except Gib. I don't know your banana history, but we've all been. Have you never been to a game? So what's wild about the Savannah Bananas is 2.5 hours before the game, it's already packed, fully packed.
I would say even honestly more than that. Like, I think it's it's way more than that. Because it opens up at 2 p.m. and the game isn't until 6 or 7, right? I think it was 7 last year. So it's like 5 hours before the game. It's a party, and then everybody goes in.
And 0 people leave before the game.
0. And everybody gets involved. Everybody holds up their phone when they sing Yellow. I mean, like, even the dudes who look like they're just there because their wife dragged them with their kids. They have a great time. It's awesome.
So I don't understand why MLB hasn't adopted any of this. Like, you watch batting practice at an MLB team, and 45 minutes before the game starts, BP is over, and you just sit there doing nothing for 45 minutes between BP and the game. I'm like, why are they not doing anything?
But even just bringing kids out onto the field.
Exactly.
Just like, just warming up with the kids, just throwing the ball. Because you know what, though? It's like they make too much money now. And you put like a kid on the field with like, you guys would do it if there were kids. I see kids all the time at BMBL games running the bases or playing around with you guys. And that's when you start to love baseball, when you're a part of it at a young age. And that's what the Bananas is capitalizing on, because, I'm sorry, baseball players make too much fucking money. Pro sports players make too much fucking money. And so you have some dude who's making $230 million maybe for the next 3 years. You think he's going to waste his time with like my snot-nosed kid who just wants to throw a ball with him?
And
no,
yet
he's
they're
not.
still throwing games.
He's not.
So to show you how much
exactly.
MLB fucked this up. So MLB decided.
Agreed. But I think that's Major League Sports in general.
The Savannah Bananas can put people on this thing. So you know what we should do? Like, how about in the 5th inning of the World Series, we'll just stop the game for 20 minutes and put on the Jonas Brothers.
God, that was terrible.
I'm like, MLB.
Terrible.
Like, do you guys not get this?
Awful. No, they don't. They don't, because they have marketers who are like 80 years old, and this is what's been working for the past 80 years. And honestly, the refusal to change is what is killing a lot of things, and MLB is one of them.
It's also killing amateur baseball too, I think. We have a lot of older guys that are running these leagues.
It is one of my wife's biggest gripes, is that there's no way for me to share my love of the game with my kids, because a lot of times our games are so late. There's really nowhere. It's not like I can watch them while I'm playing or coaching or whatever. So those opportunities for them to come and see how much I love the game, few and far between. She says it all the time. It's a good point.
He used to say that he's not selling. It's all about fans first, and this is what he's going to do. I think it was a Fortune magazine or one of those that just within the last month valued the Savannah Bananas at $500 million. And
they own it all.
They own it all. He has no funding. He has no debt whatsoever. It's 100% his team. But I read something the other day, and I thought this was sort of interesting. Jesse Cole, who I follow on Facebook, if you guys don't follow him, you should, because he posts a lot of really neat stuff. He did this post.
He wrote a book too, I think.
Well, he's wrote several books. He wrote If Fans Could Talk.
Somehow I Manage.
Yeah. Anyway, that aside, there were like 4 or 5 of his players that just got drafted by MLB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he posted on Facebook saying, "I'm so proud of my guys. These guys just got drafted to MLB." And then he went and listed the guys. And I did a very, very big double take, because I was like, wait a minute. I thought for the last couple of years, Jesse Cole was just telling me how Banana Ball is a different product. It's a better experience. It's than Major League Baseball. So why would 5 of your players who get drafted away from Banana Ball to MLB? I know what you're saying, Dan, but bear with me for a second.
It's also the show. I mean.
Yes, but let's back it up for a second.
Okay, let's back it up. It's
only
podcast.
Less than 10% of people who get drafted by MLB ever play in an MLB game.
Well, they could always go back to Bananas.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, right. They could also, right. But they also just go to like AAA or whatever.
You're on the Savannah Bananas, and you're playing in sold-out parks every game, and you got millions of Instagram followers, literally, and you're the biggest star on planet Earth. Why are you gonna play for the Hoboken Hobos in front of 1,500 people and never make it further than A ball?
But like Jackson Olsen isn't going to go sign.
Well, that's different.
Do you know what I mean? These are not. These are also not going to be, I think, like your very well-known Bananas players, right? Like these are going to be maybe some players that were awesome, but not your Jackson Olsens, not your Razes, right? Like not maybe your what's his name, Coach Rack. Yeah. But it's going to be the kids who still see the bananas as a step to get to the show, which is fine. But I don't think you're going to see your bigger players doing that.
Yeah.
And you
Not
say
your
bigger players, but it's because they have social media. They're taking advantage of.
Oh, correct. But now they're huge,
Yeah.
and they're going to stay with, because if Jackson Olsen, goes to play for the Dodgers, like he's just going to be another douche in the lineup. If he's on the bananas, he's like every kid is wearing number 8. I was wearing number 8.
Next. Write this down. Record this. You guys recording this podcast? I'm going to tell you what's happening next.
Yeah.
Wait till your first Savannah Banana brings in his $1 million contract. Do you know who the first MLB players were to bring in $1 million? I think I can name the 3 of them. I'm pretty sure I got this right. It was Mike Schmidt, Nolan Ryan, and I think it was George Brett. Maybe Jim Rice were like the first 4 guys. You can Google this, see how many of these I got right.
I'll Google it right now. You keep talking.
I think those were like the first 4 guys that brought in like $1 million salaries. And it's going to happen with the bananas. If the Savannah Bananas are like legitimately valued at $500 million, which they are, then why
They're going to be paid accordingly.
Yeah. Why would the Savannah Bananas let these guys go to the MLB draft? Like, fuck that. Stay with us.
You got one right, Brett Rudy. So it was Nolan Ryan, Kirby Puckett, Ricky Henderson, and Jose Canseco.
Really? I don't believe. No.
Do we know how much they're paid?
The first 4 MLB players to earn $1 million annual salary were Nolan Ryan, Kirby Puckett, Ricky Henderson, and Jose Canseco. Ryan was the first to achieve this in 1979, followed by Puckett and Henderson in 89 and Canseco in 1990.
Respectfully, your Google.
ChatGPT is always
then
right.
Feel free to go look.
All right, I'm going to look that up after the podcast because there's 0 chance that Jose Canseco was one of the first 4 players to ever bring in $1 million. All
right, babe, go look.
And I'm not doubting your research. I'm very confident that you are telling me what your Google search is telling you is the answer, but I'm telling you there's 0 chance that Jose Canseco was one of the first 4 players to bring in $1 million. I'm just saying.
Well, so wait a minute. So $1 million annually? You mean just like $1 million contract?
Annually, yeah. There's no.
Okay,
chance.
so
no.
That was.
I'm not doubting that you're telling me what Google is telling you. I'm sure you were truthfully telling me what that answer is, but I'm saying that is not right. And we will look it up afterwards, and we will figure it out. And all of our listeners can tell me how Rudy was wrong, and he called this out. But I'm telling you. And Kirby Puckett, by the way, who is one of my favorite players of all time, by the way, no way he was one of the first 4 guys to bring in.
Babes, he was. In 1989, he signed a contract worth $3 million.
You're telling me Mike Schmidt's not on that list?
Mike Schmidt is not on this list. So even when I changed the Google search, it's Nolan Ryan, number 1. George Foster was making $2 million in 82. Kirby Puckett, 89, and Dave Parker in 1978.
All right, so hold on. I'm going on Mike Schmidt's baseball reference page right now, and I'm going to go down to salaries. But now it's loading really. Okay, let's see. Hold on.
We got to move on, so let's.
Okay, let's do. I think we should actually probably wrap. It's 10:30. We got to go.
Right, no, this is bullshit. Mike Schmidt made $1.5 million in 1982. According to Baseball Reference.
But over how many years, though? Because
he made that in 1982. He made it in 1983. He made it in 1984. He made $2 million in 1985.
He ain't on this list, so you need to go talk to Google.
I'm gonna go talk to fucking whoever runs Google. Is it Sergi? What's his name? Google. We're gonna go fix this up. What are we moving on to, Dan?
All right.
I think we're yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Wait,
I gotta break open another beer. I'm gonna keep going.
This has been our longest podcast to date.
Rudy, I think we'll invite you back at some point, but this is definitely our longest podcast ever. I have to work tomorrow with high schoolers at 7:45, so respectfully.
Showing up late. I'm usually in by 6:45.
Oh, I wake up at 7:20. I live down the street. I literally live 5 doors from my work. So I wake up at 7:20, I get dressed, and I roll on in.
Yeah.
Awesome. I hope
But,
there are people who listen to every minute of this podcast and they're hanging on every word.
We've had a lot of comments on the
We have
BMBL
had a lot of
page,
comments tonight.
and we had a lot more that we wanted to ask you about. But yeah,
All right, well, go ahead. Let's do more
Dude,
questions.
no, we gotta go. We will
One more
definitely
question.
do it some
we'll give
other
you one
time.
last
One last question.
Yeah.
All right.
What is one campaign or project you're most proud of in your 30-year marketing career?
I mean, it's got to be Charity Wines.
Charity, which is something I wanted to talk about.
Which I think we started talking about and then went into the 100 innings.
Yeah. We're all over the place.
So Charity Wines, which was founded by Andy Graff and John Corcoran, they sent me an email and they said, we want to put out, we found your website. We want to put out a wine with Curt Schilling. We were thinking it could be called Bloody Sock Merlot. Do you get it? Blood is red, wine is red. Ha ha ha! It would be really great.
People aren't drinking bloody socks.
Yeah, Bloody Sock. And this was right after we did the first 100 innings with the Schillings. So we said, well, we could put out a wine with the Schillings, no problem. But what if we did it with the Schillings and we tied it to his charity and came up with a better name? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, let us know what you want to do. So we talked to Curt, and at the time, no active professional athlete had ever come out with an alcohol product. We're talking about Champions Red. So I got some Champions Red from Alabrandi's right here.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, there you go.
I got it all. But the question was, so if we're going to put a wine, like no active player had ever done one before. So we're like, all right, well, we'll do one with you. But Kurt's like, well, I'm not going to do it unless some other athletes do it too. I'm not going to do it by myself. So now we're panicking because at the time we'd never worked with a professional athlete other than Curt Schilling. Like that was it at the time. Charity Help was new. So we contacted Manny Ramirez, his agent, and we pitched the idea of Manny being Merlot. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll do it, but only if another athlete will do it. And we're like, yeah, that's not a problem. Curt Schilling already agreed to do it if you would do it. So we totally like played them off each other. And then they're like, well, we'd have to have another. So we called up Tim Wakefield and we're like, well, Manny and Curt said they'd already do it if you do it. So we completely played them off each other. And then the first year we came up with Cabernet with Curt Schilling and Manny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Schilling Chardonnay. And then those wines went out. So the best part about this entire thing is Charity Wines was like, well, how much will it cost for you to put this whole marketing program together? So my business partner at the time, Mike Lembo, I played with him for many years on the White Sox. I played with him this year on the South Shore Mariners. We came up with a proposal for them, and we're like, all right, we can do this work for like $5,000, $10,000, something like somewhere in that neighborhood. I forget what it was. And they came back to us and they're like, yeah, guys, that's way too expensive. We can't do that. What if we paid you guys per bottle instead? So we came up with a per bottle rate on what would work. And then fast forward like 7 years later, we sold 2 million bottles of wine.
Wow. That's awesome, Brett.
And
we're like, wow, they would have been much better off just paying us the $5,000 or $10,000 and calling it a day. They said it was too much and decided to pay us per bottle. So, it gave us an opportunity to work with Ken Griffey Jr., David Ortiz, Chipper Jones, Mike Schmidt, Ernie Banks, Brooks Robinson, Dan Marino, Ray Bork, Cam Neely, the list goes on and on. We got to work with so many professional athletes and got to know them personally. Like just some of the wild stuff I remember. You want a couple of wild stories? You guys got to go. It's late.
Hold on, because I took the time to download this clip that I wanted to show. You were featured on Nesson during a Red Sox game. This was a very much younger Brett Rudy.
By John Corcoran at Charity Wines, and they said they were interested in putting out some baseball wines to raise money for charity. And they knew that we had been working with some players on the Red Sox with some different charity events. And we figured we'd give it a whirl. And last year we rolled out with wines with Curt Schilling and Tim Wakefield and Manny Ramirez, and it was incredibly successful. And that ultimately led out to rolling out with Charity Wines for 30 different athletes across the country, across baseball, football, and hockey. And to date, we've actually raised more than $1 million just from wine bottle sales for the different charities that the players support.
Now, Brett Rudy also...
Brett Rudy, there you go. That's
the
pretty
man,
cool.
the myth, the legend.
Pretty
See,
cool
this is
stuff.
why I call you the luckiest man in baseball, right? Like you just manifest things. And I don't say luck as a to take away or detract from your success and that in which you have built. I say lucky because you really have managed to capitalize on all of these kind of things that you find, right? And I think that is a lot of skill. So again, I'm not taking away, but I do think there is some luck involved. And so when I call you the luckiest man in baseball, it's like by no means a way to take away from your skill level. So I just want to say that.
So I think for me, I consider myself a guy who understands, who can recognize talent. What are you laughing at? Because I'm pulling out another beer?
Yes.
Yes.
Hold on.
It's amazing it took this long to get you on here.
It's a school night.
And now this is like our longest episode ever.
So what I do really well is I recognize talent. I mean, 2 out of 3 of the people on this call are guys I drafted because I recognize them. And then fast forward 20 years, and they're the only ones running a baseball podcast in Boston. Like, coincidence? Like
I think not.
Like, legitimate question. Coincidence? Like, there aren't 2 guys who played for, like, the Reds doing a podcast. There aren't 2 guys from the Cutters doing a podcast. There's 2 guys I drafted on the White Sox doing a podcast. Like, I just ask, is it coincidence? And maybe, but I think that I have an ability, because I don't have very much of it myself, but I can recognize the talent in others, and I get them, I find people who have talent and bring them together. And, for example, another one, I represented Justin Ferrano. I don't anymore, but Justin Ferrano. He's the official artist of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I found this guy? I was at a card show in Wilmington because of my wines. And I was trying to find athletes who were doing autograph signings at that card show so I could talk to them to see if they wanted to do wines with us. And while I was there, I saw Justin Ferrano. He had a 10-foot table on like aisle C selling his artwork. And I'm like, Jesus, you are the best artist I've ever seen. Who's representing you? And he's like, nobody. I'm just painting. Like, I will represent you. And he's like,
Brett Rudy is now.
I'm like, so I represent him. Fast forward a number of years, he's the official artist of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Am I the official artist? No, but I recognized his talent. And I was able to help put him in a place that he wasn't. Like, even you look at 100 innings of baseball, like, great idea, but I didn't play 100 innings this year. 25 other people did. I didn't. Like, because I put this thing together and I've enabled other people to do amazing things. And I think that that's where my talent lies, is to recognize talent in others, to bring them together and enable them to be their best.
Speaking of which, you said you helped Jared Carrabis get the job with Barstool, so can you get him on the show?
Maybe. So Jared Carrabis is a very interesting story. He wrote a book. He had a podcast that's like, if this fan could talk, or if this hat could talk, or I forget. I'm probably completely getting it wrong. But at the time, he was like just this young kid, and he had this blog, and I had a blog. It was Boston Baseball. Now it's our league website, but I used to have a blog. And this guy, whose name was Joe Gill, he put together an event called Blogapalooza, and all the sports bloggers in Boston came together one night at this bar in Boston just to like gather. And this is when blogs were hot, because there wasn't like social media, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of blogs. And I built this listing of all the blogs, and like none of them exist today, but back then there were like hundreds of them. And David Portney was there from Barstool. Like, there were so many people there, and Jared was there, and I'm like, dude, you are going to be fucking huge someday. And he didn't know me from anybody. I'm an adult. He's a kid. He's like, I'll listen to this guy. So I put some PowerPoint presentations on and I tried to get him jobs at like every sports network in like all of Boston, every newspaper, every outlet, like everywhere. And I put together this wonderful PowerPoint presentation on him and tried to pitch him everywhere. And I'm not convinced that any of them actually worked, but I did get him a job at New England Baseball Journal. And he wrote for Baseball Journal for like, I don't know, 6-8 months or whatever. And from that, working with me at Baseball Journal, because I wrote a monthly article with them, he ended up getting the job at Barstool. And now Jared Carrabis is Jared Carrabis. And again, I take zero credit for what he did. Like everything he did, like not me one bit. But I recognize the talent, and I'd like to believe that I helped open a door or two that maybe helped him get a foot in the right direction to enable him to do what he did. So it's like we were saying with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Did I do the Ice Bucket Challenge? No, I'm not trying to take any credit, but I don't know. If we didn't have 100 innings of baseball, would you know who he is today?
I think you promised you'd help me find a job. I'm still unemployed.
Like, here's the thing, man. Like, when you see something that's really cool, are you like, that's really cool? Or are you like, that's really cool, I'm going to grab it and turn it into something? Like, when I see shit that's cool, I grab it and I turn it into something. And I don't need to bring this down because I know we've been having a really good chat for the last 6 hours. But I haven't seen a lot of really cool shit the way I used to see lots of cool stuff. Like when we started Charity Hop and we started getting big, we would get proposals all the time. I mean, I remember one because it was the worst idea I'd ever heard of. It was called Fans Animals. And a guy's
Angie
like,
needs to go to bed soon.
He was like, I want to create like these stuffed animals with all these professional athletes, and we'll call them like Fans Animals. And they were like, had a David Ortiz fan. We had so many ideas. We had this guy who wanted, you know, like the phrase a chick magnet. This guy contacted us because he wanted to actually make magnets that looked like the little birds, the chicks, and he wanted us to market chick magnets. And I'm like, oh my God, like these are the ideas that people are coming to us with. So my point on all this is like, there's so many bad ideas. And if you can find the good ones and put them out there and elevate them and get them into people's hands, they just take off into shit. So Lucky, I don't know. I just feel like I recognize
opportunistic
a good idea when I see it, and I don't let it slip. It's why I took 400 hitter and helped Ganley turn it into something. I didn't do it.
Well, now we need to turn it into something even better.
Yeah.
more.
That should be your next project.
Charity wines.
500 hitter.
Turned it into something. Like I turn other people's ideas into good shit. That's what I do.
What is the fate? Was it Rumpelstiltskin? Doesn't Rumpelstiltskin he spins we like twine into gold? You're like Rumpelstiltskin of the baseball world.
There'll never be another Brett Rudy. I can tell you that.
I have literally never been compared to Rumpelstiltskin before. But hey, you know, remarkable. Doing all this, I still can't get voted into the BMBL Hall of Fame. But what are you gonna do?
Maybe your time's coming. I'm sure
your time's coming, Brett Rudy.
Your time should be coming, Brett. Honestly, you know, you're a big reason why the league has gotten to where it is. I mean, that's just fact.
Well, veterans committee. We're going to try and start a veterans committee.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk? Should we go into that? Because I have lots of shit to
No, we shouldn't. Not now. We can absolutely have you on again.
All right, so we'll do a part two. We'll do a part two.
Because we have so many questions we didn't ask. But Brett, honestly, you've been a lot of fun. And thank you for coming on. You really have been a wonderful guest.
Thank you. Cheers to you.
And cheers to you.
So before we go, I'm going to vote on Halloween costumes.
Angie's going to mute
you. Like top Gibby 3 candy.
Yeah, Gibby had the best one, even though he took it off 3 hours ago. Dan, respectfully to Ange, comes in second because his shirt at least says it is a Halloween costume. And Angie's coming in without a bra, which normally would come to a first place vote.
That's sweet. Bonus points.
So
I mean, I go as Julia Roberts every year, so it's fine.
Yeah, and by the way, those glasses, those look like the meta glasses that have like AI.
Alex Koppelman had them at the 100 inning game.
Yeah, you will never find me with meta glasses. No, these were like the $7, like just send in your prescription and they send you a pair of cute glasses.
So like those glasses aren't like telling you which question to ask next or anything like that.
No, I have my computer over here.
Interesting.
Not a meta girl. I'm not into that shit. It scares the shit out of me. I'm all set. But
guys, this has been awesome.
It's been awesome, Brett. Thank you again.
You the man. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Episode 24. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Are you guys coming to the banquet?
Are you going in?
Yes, sir.
Gib?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Very
Perfect.
nice.
So oh, by the way, so Dan, we can do our little meeting on this now. So Cov is flying to California, so he's not going to be at the banquet,
Right.
and Isaac is in Florida playing in a tournament.
Yeah, I know. You planned this out real well.
Yeah, so what that means is that you are going to need to cover off on 2 of the divisions as the voice.
And live stream it?
Yeah. Yes. So
Okay.
I can handle the 18s and the 28s because you won a championship. You should not.
I did.
Yeah, yourself.
I will help out.
So
I'll help out.
Actually, do you 2 want to kick it off as the voice of Fielder's Choice? You guys could
What time are we doing this?
So
starts.
So the banquet starts at 7, but I want to kick the thing off at 8, give or take. So maybe it's 8, maybe it's 8:05. But the first start is like it's like, hey, everybody, thanks for coming.
My loves, can we please do this tomorrow? It's almost 11. I have to work tomorrow with teenagers. You know what that's like? That's like a hangover. I have to go.
No, it's fine.
I love you.
I just want you to be aware that you are the MC of tomorrow's banquet.
All right.
Fair
Sounds
enough.
good.
I take it. We'll do it. Just text me tomorrow. Anything you want me to do. Text the deets. Yes.
I don't think we announced that the 4 cities were announced for the WPBL, right?
The 4 cities were announced.
Yeah.
So we got
Boston. So we got Boston. We got San Francisco. We got LA, and we have New York City.
All right, so should we talk about this for a while? Or
No, we should.
Yeah,
We should.
3 hours.
We should go to bed and definitely talk about this some other time.
I feel like we should get our own show. You guys should get your own show on like Sirius.
We're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Oh, Spotify would be good too. Like maybe just when Joe Rogan has a sick day, he'll be like, Joe Rogan is unavailable,
Yeah.
but the Fielder's Choice podcast will be filtering in. And by the way, like when Dan's out, we can bring in Mike Terrio for an episode or 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, Terry.
We can cycle through.
To see if he's still listening at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So blow us
All
up.
right, guys.
You said you see talent and you make dreams come up. So
There's got to
blow
be
this podcast up.
some clips in this shit right
Oh
here.
my God, yeah.
Dream catchers. Dan, go find the clips. All you got to do, download the entire episode, put it into ChatGPT, say, give me 5 minutes of gold, see what we come back with.
Yeah. Brett is a big fan of ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is terrible for the environment. It uses 6 cups of drinking water every single time you ask it one question.
Wow.
That's my yes.
So are you suggesting that there are children that are dying of thirst because Dan is doing a search on GPT?
I'm suggesting that every time somebody uses ChatGPT, it uses 6 cups of drinkable water, and that Flint, Michigan hasn't had drinkable water since 2020. But we can talk about this also some other time. I love you all.
All right, bye guys.
All right,
good night.
Brett, thanks so much. Let's see you tomorrow night. Oh, Brett. Brett.
Guys. That
What
was
did
a
we
long
just do?
but hilarious episode. I don't know what we did.
Yeah.
We like unleashed something. It was amazing. I feel like I just need to give Brett beers more often.
Or not.
Or not.
I think I need it.
But that was a lot of fun.
Shower. Well, you did have makeup all over your face.
That's true.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't think we need to belabor this.
Nope.
What an episode.
If there's anyone left watching, thank you.
We love you.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, be sure to like. I thought you were gonna come with Manny Ramirez, to be honest.
Yeah, but come on, this was the best show on TV.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That first season was a very good show.
Then Breaking Bad came along. Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Happy Halloween.
To think we had like 20 more questions we were going to ask them.
I was looking at all of them and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
This is why I said, I said, keep your answers under a minute. You saw, I sent him that, right?
Yeah. I did not see that, but I don't think he did either. So it's all good.
I don't think it would have mattered.
It wouldn't have.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
No.
Good stuff.
All right, dudes.
Happy Sunday or the hour of Sunday or Monday, right?
It is Monday.
Yeah,
Today's Monday. Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Go edit this down to about.
I know, right?
40 minutes.
I know. Before you put this anywhere, there's some gems in there, though.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So. All right, guys.
All right,
I'll see you
guys.
next week.
Yep. Good night.
Have a
Happy
good
Monday.
night.
See ya.
Happy Monday. Bye.
Peace.